Ring, ring, ring. No!
Go! Come on! Stop wasting our fucking time!
Ring, ring, ring. Herald, please shut up and welcome back to Master Krown's prediction case.
Get that shit out of here. No Master Krown today, just regular Krown today, but it's a Boolah Wednesday. Yes, we have some very interesting things to be speaking about today. A lot going on right now in the shorter term time frames that is going to be lined up with the higher term time frame analysis that we have been speaking about for the last, I don't know, basically week now, all coming to fruition. So all of that is well and good. But before we get into that, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest, because why the fuck not, man? It's free to do. So just spread that around. Anyways, with that said, let's get into the Krown Chain application over here, which can be found at app.krownchain.net. And what do we see? We see Bitcoin dominance still hovering around that 44% region, of which I really want to see how this responds if and when Bitcoin does take this next presumably leg to the upside here. Or, I mean, obviously come to the downside as well. But I do think that the upside is a bit more likely based off of what we're looking at right now. So ultimately, I would expect to see Bitcoin dominance continue to go up alongside Bitcoin price action going up as well. If on the macro scale, if we do see the Bitcoin dominance continue to go up as well. Sorry, what I mean by that, if I were to refine my thoughts because I get lost in my own stream of consciousness, is essentially this. Bitcoin dominance going up alongside a market trend, alongside a macro market trend, more or less, is typically a good conclusive sort of measurement to be looking at in order to look for, general macro continuation in that direction. What do I mean by that? Well, if we were to see Bitcoin dominance shoot up while Bitcoin comes down, let's say below the higher term time frame range, which is about $32,000, then we'd be looking at that as very conclusive for a long-term move. Same thing for the upside here as well, and Bitcoin is right around the top side of the higher term time frame range. So I do think that the resolution there is a lot more likely. We'll be showing a few things, especially in the options market going on right now, related to BBWP, our volatility-based metric, by Mr. Caretaker, who I see in the comments right now. There he is, fucking love him, and of course Nimble as well. And we've got Pedro in here too, fucking lovely baby. Oh my lord, it is it's everyone's in the house right now. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Anyways, Fear and Greed Index also at a 33. I believe this was actually higher yesterday at about 38, which is rather strange, seeing as this did come down 5 points and Bitcoin's more or less just been consolidating at the top side of the range. Typically speaking, when you do consolidate amongst a resistance or support, typically will break in that direction as well. And there are several other things kind of suggesting the same thing. On top of that, we do see open interest maintaining that 6.8 billion read, of which I want to see this take another leg up of about $1 billion or so, assuming that Bitcoin could take that leg up above about $41,000. Anyways, as far as the top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins, we do have on the winners list Shiba. Shiba is on the winners list, 27%. What the hell? Doesn't matter, man. This is cryptocurrency land. Doesn't need to make sense. AMP, Chiliz, The Graph, Thorchain, Waves, Quant, Stacks, Icon, and Terra all on the winners list. Actually, not too many with like humongous crypto S-type gains. Really only like the top 3 or 4 there, 4 right there. I need to turn off the alerts right now. Anyways, we can talk about the long short. Look, this is becoming very, very quickly the next big meme within this market. Look, if you're looking at Finex longs and shorts, I have to say, you're looking at the wrong fucking thing. First off, Finex is a more or less irrelevant exchange. And second off, if you've been in this market for the last 3 years, you probably remember the last time we saw something similar to that. Hey, guess what? If you actually read the fucking contract specifications, you can just claim that position off the books, which means that it's going to be a null and void thing anyways, and probably a cover for a spot long position if I had to guess. That is what someone is probably thinking when they're dealing with that big amount of money. They're thinking of it as a hedge, as you typically use futures contracts for. We can even do a bit of a history lesson as to why futures contracts even came about to begin with. But before that, let's talk about the shitcoins over here, getting absolutely smacked in the face. Internet Computer, Kusama, Bakery Token, Sushi Swap, Newton, Nexo, Chainlink, Nano, and Phantom. Pretty much it's just a reversal from this list yesterday to over here. Kind of funny how that does work out. We have rotations going on. Anyways, with that in mind, let's go over to the market data tab. And yes, okay, this is, I think, just the easiest way to be looking at things as of the current moment in time. Look at this line chart right here. I think it makes looking at highs and lows relatively simple. I actually did a little bit of an experiment with Elsa about a couple weekends ago, where we taught her lows and highs, and funnily enough, on the line chart, she got it pretty much almost instantly, which was pretty damn cool. And she is actually afraid of numbers, which is kind of funny at the same time. But anyways, what do we have right here? Well, we have a low, we have a higher low, and we have a higher high above our range highs. That looks good to me. Alongside, very, very interesting right here, the global funding rate is actually trending to to the downside still. So it's actually lower in its totality than yesterday. And holy fucking shit. Oh my God. Okay. So very, usually things are not this obvious right now, but FTX, OKX, BitMEX all posting like decent negative rates right there, all things considered. Bitcoin's at the top side of the daily range. For all, to put in perspective, and sorry, it's not even all of these three exchanges. It's also Deribit posting a negative rate as well, and Kraken's literally zero. Huobi, Binance, and Bybit are extremely inconsequential anyways, below 0.01% at the same time. To me, this is very, 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 very likely a setup for another continuation drive into the mid to deeper $40,000 territory, $43,000, quite likely, probably even today. We even see a bit of bit of an accumulation of fear over here. We've accumulated a fear. It's time to now go dump into the greed, it looks like. Anyways, more importantly with that, we do have structure plus underlying market dynamics plus volatility-based metrics that are all kind of suggesting that we probably got to move today. So what I want to speak about right now is this right here, the put call market for expiring today, the 16th. Again, this is really not anything like too consequential. Like look at the open interest over here in comparison to what we're dealing with on the 25th of June. It's really not much, but I suppose just looking at this right here, it does look rather obvious that we very likely do close above, at the very least, $40,000, or yeah, about $40,000 by expiration, which is going to be in about 3 hours here. So I do, or is it about 3 hours? Yeah, I do believe it's about maybe 3 hours or so, something like that. 3 or 4 hours, whatever it ends up being. I do strongly believe that we will be closing above $40,000, which is rather interesting right here, seeing as these are all getting bid up in comparison to what we're looking at on the 25th of June, of which we still see, in fact, this is changing around a little bit more now, but it does very, 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 very likely align that Bitcoin will make its way above $44,000 this month. I do not believe, though, at least based off of this, it would look very unlikely that it does close above $48,000. And looking at the $40,000 put strike, it does seem very, very obvious that this is very likely a cover, essentially. What do I mean by that? Or sorry, yes, a cover in this case. Let me go back to the June 16th expiration right on over here. Elsa, are you okay? Do you need some help?
Hey,
yeah, what's up?
You like Elsa if she...
No. Anyways, okay, so look at all these right here. All of these put strikes are getting bid up quite significantly. Now line that up with what we're going to look at BBWP over here on the 4-hour time frame. So this is going to be expiring around the same time that we do have expiration for these strikes. Now, what is essentially aligned with? Well, what do you typically do when volatility is relatively low? Those are like the few opportunities where I will perhaps consider buying some premium. And if I'm going to be buying some premium, well, it's going to be puts. And if I'm buying puts, what am I covering that with? Long fucking stocks. So these are protective puts. I think that's very, very obvious here, in line with everything else that we did speak about. And it seems to me that the $40,000 strike is going to be the pivot on this one. I think that's rather obvious as well, as it is a short-term time frame range. And oh my God, here comes the fucking hexers. Jesus Christ, man. That's great, man. That's awesome. Let's maybe not use this as like a full-on marketing ploy on this channel. I'm happy to look at charts, man. I'll call out good charts when I see them, but I would like to maybe take a step back from that. I don't really like feeling like I'm being used for some sort of marketing at the end of the day. Anyways, so with all of that in mind, let's go over here into the charts themselves. I want to start off with something a little bit different today, because we've been mostly rehashing the same sort of analysis for the past week as far as the high-term timeframes go. Anyways, as far as this is right here, we can see very, very easily. Whoops, it looks like well, we can just take this off for the time being. I just put on a 9 exponential average on the monthly right here, and we could say something very, very simple or simplistic, and is also relevant to our current price action, of which anytime that Bitcoin is essentially closing monthly dildos above the 9 exponential average and it has a positive slope, those are your bull markets. And every time that Bitcoin has closed a monthly dildo below the 9 exponential average, that has been the beginning of the end of that bull market. You can see this right here, closed below, and then we put in our bull trap and then work our way down for the next year. Obviously gets a negative slope along the way as well. That is your indication of a bull trap, of a bull trap within that cycle, but it does keep you along the whole way through. Same thing right on out of here at about $300 in November 2015, all the way up to basically 20,000 a few years later. And then of course, same thing to the downside over here. Small upside right here actually does tell you a little bit about the impending doom as far as coronavirus dump time goes. And then more importantly, where are we basing off right now? Well, right above it, in fact. So we do see that's currently situated right around about 37,500-ish region. So, I think it's relative, I think it's relevant to call out in this case. Overall, as long as we're above that, I don't really have a reason. You know, I suppose we could come up with another reason, like technically speaking, that it's a little more wise to be holding off on like calling the full-on bear market for Bitcoin. Again, as far as structure goes, until Bitcoin comes back down below about 35,000 bucks now, I don't think that is even a topic of conversation to be talking about like major, massive downside moves. You know, still like 25,000 to 20,000 bucks overall would be relevant targets over time if that's going to, if that's going to happen. But realistically, oh, Jesus Christ, man. What is, okay, that is a really good way to market yourself, man. We can just spam this person. That is, okay, that is the best way to market yourself. Look, man, maybe I end up regretting it or not. It's not for me. I'll just say that outright. Look, man, that's just more money for you. Look, I'm not in the game. It's just more hexes for you. Can keep on getting your hex, bro. And I'm happy for you, man. I hope that you get rich as fuck so that you stop spamming fucking YouTube streams for this. Anyways, with that in mind, looking at the daily right here, I do want to go over this once again, as basically Bitcoin did have a daily reversal. We do have a low right here, higher low right here, and obviously popping above the range highs, closing above the prior 39,300-ish level does essentially give me the bias that Bitcoin very likely does make a move up to about 43,000 bucks, just the top side of this wiki territory right here, of which we can go to this region right here. There we go. Still the same thing as yesterday. And guess what? We just based off of the prior range highs, and that is more or less fine to myself. I know that a lot of people are looking at the 200 exponential average as the next big fucking death thing to stop Bitcoin in its tracks. No, this is not the way to be trading moving averages. Jesus fucking Christ. People are making memes out of moving averages, which is terrible because I absolutely love my moving averages. But unfortunately, the internet, destroys all good things, as we typically know. Anyways, with that said, I am still looking at this area right here. The 382 Fibonacci retracement is also within that region as well. And that actually would be in line with the 200 simple. So a very, very natural target, also coming in with sort of the range highs on that first automatic reaction off the lows, if you are thinking about this from a Wyckoff perspective. But again, I do think that it is a little bit more relevant to be I do think it's relevant to be a little bit more conservative with things going on from here. While I do think that Bitcoin very likely does make its way to 43,000 bucks and probably even takes a stab up to 47 to 50,000 bucks, I would still be saying that Bitcoin is still a little bit under pressure, or at least not out of the woods just yet, until we do close dailies or preferably weeklies above the $50,000 pivot right here. If that happens, I'd generally say, look, the low is not just in, it's probably in for the macro cycle. And while Bitcoin probably works its way sideways and up from there, I'd generally be sounding the bull horns once again. For right now, I do think that I kind of do align a little bit more with that, albeit with all of the bearish indications that are still very much present within the charts. But if we do go over three major things to be aware of in order to denote the next macro low for Bitcoin, we now have one of them actually in place. But the most important one, going back on over here to our hash ribbons chart, a fundamentally based indicator, we do not have still actually. And in fact, this continues to diverge from each other, which means that this is going to take even longer, and the recovery phase has not even gone fully through just yet. So it's not even a topic of conversation that we can even get a blue buy signal at this point. And until we get a blue buy signal, I do not believe that it would be wise at all whatsoever, at least historically speaking, to call a macro low. Why do I say that? Because every time that we have gotten a blue buy signal, the prior low to that blue buy signal has been the low for that next essential move. I mean, essentially for that cycle as well, except for one. There is about 11 iterations right here, which we can all go over, or you can just reference the long-term analysis playlist. And one of them, which was actually in coronavirus sometime, that is the one that did not hold true with that. Ultimately, though, it still would have been more or less fine, in hindsight, I suppose. But of course, as a trader, you don't really, you don't fucking wait months and months for something to come back. That is ridiculous. Anyways, as it stands right here, at some point, it very likely will print a blue buy signal. But until that happens, I do think it would be a bit premature to be calling a macro low. I do think that we have a major low in place, and I think that that's very, obvious at this point as well. I mean, we essentially called that on that last move down to about 31,000 bucks on this bear trap right here, and so far so good. I mean, it's been almost a $10,000 move from top to bottom thus far, and I do believe that it still has some more to go. On top of that, We do have a higher low right here, of course, and that would be the secondary thing that I'm looking towards. Is I want to see a daily reversal. We do have that, actually. We do have a daily reversal right here. I think that does warrant a lot of merit within this conversation as well. But that needs to be combined with the hash ribbon signal in order for me to really look at this as a potential macro low. And then on top of that, we do see that the daily BBWP, we've gone over this a million fucking times. Again, I do apologize if this gets annoying, but I do think that is rather important. A volatility-based indicator over here did hit 100 percentile, just the same as we did see in coronavirus dump time and the 6,000 to 3,000 dump in 2018, 2019 as well. And of course, we did see, several other times in past cycles here too, but those are just the easy ones to pull up. And while we are seeing volatility expand once again here, which I'm not necessarily like full on gung-ho for. Ultimately, we do see similar situations to this in the past as well, where it doesn't just go all the way down to the single digits as far as BBWP here. It does have a few one-offs as far as, another spike up in the interim. And I believe that's what we're in the midst of right now. And you can see on the coronavirus dump time over here, if we actually do measure it up with price action, that would be in this area right here. So essentially what I'd be looking for on this next move to the upside is, well, hopefully another higher low. That would be another point in the case for the BULAs, and then we could still see this contract all the way through. And it's really not until this comes all the way down to one, single digit percentiles where this actually does start to put in one macro base here, and that is, the more obvious signal long term. Of course, we do have the example before that, which was way back on over here in 2018, 2019 dump, and same sort of thing. We do see a bit of an expansion. Albeit in this case, it actually does come up on the next test towards range highs, but ultimately it's not till we get back down to single digits where this is like your mega breakout after about a 4-month-long consolidation on the lows and then explosion from 4,000 to 14,000 bucks. So I do think that we are perhaps in the midst of doing something like that, but what could it essentially look like? And understand that what I'm going to do now is more or less like crystal ball bullshit. This is not technical analysis. This is putting my own stupid opinion on price action. This is not something that I'd really go off of, but what could this look like if we were to make a corollary between that for, perhaps a bullish case long-term where the macro low is in? Well, it very likely looks something like this, where we do see volatility going up right now as Bitcoin does test the top side of the range. So we are very likely looking for a bit of a continuation on this rally here. Perhaps Bitcoin, stabs up to the mid to upper $40,000 territory and then comes back down maybe around the middle or the top side of the current, of the prior range, actually, more or less right now, somewhere around, upper 30,000, low $40,000 territory. If that were to happen alongside BBWP also trending down as well, maybe even hitting those single digit percentiles, and alongside perhaps the hash ribbons indicator giving a bit of a further bias here by printing a blue buy signal, at that point I do think that Bitcoin very likely does put in a macro low. And that does play into the general idea that I think Bitcoin is very likely going to be within this range between about 30,000 bucks and 50,000 bucks. I know it's a large range, but that is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with big numbers here. But I do think that Bitcoin's going to be within that range if you are bullish at least for the next 2 to 3 months, or at least the longer the better. Remember, if you're thinking about this in Wyckoff terms, which I think that this is very obviously a Wyckoff distribution top, then this took about 3 to 4 months on the top to distribute, actually about 3 months. And right now we're just over a month of consolidation over here on the lows. So if you're looking at this as accumulation, you genuinely want to see about the same time spent on your accumulation as your distribution in order to get a macro reverse, or like a reversal that is relevant for that time frame. In this case, this would be a macro reversal, obviously. Anyways, we can see this in the past as well. You can see that back on over here, when Bitcoin put in this massive descending triangle at the end of 2018 right here. This is where things really got nasty. Took about 3 months from late August to early November. So that's September, October, November. About 3 months, it looks like 3-4 months. And then what happens after that? Bitcoin dumps down, and then it takes about, starting in early December all the way to late March, early April for a breakout, about the same time. That's what you want to be seeing. I mean, we can come up with a few other examples other than that as well, but you can also do this on your own time if you are so inclined, but we can go back on over here. Same thing, takes about a few months to distribute on the top. We get a few months over here to distribute, accumulate on the lows. Didn't actually work out the whole way through, but we do get a nice move to the upside. Anyways, long term though, it's really not until we spend about half a year. About half a year actually. From January to October. No, actually way more than half a year, about almost a full year of accumulating on the lows after about a long time over here of really distributing on the highs. Same thing more recently as well. if we go back on over here, Bitcoin, not just takes about 3 months to accumulate over here, but guess what? When you see the distribution on the other side, it takes what? It takes about 3 months at the top right here. And then after that, well, the rest is kind of history, I suppose. So with all of that in mind, this very likely does take some time. And while people are getting very excited right now, as perhaps they should be, I mean, this is, a trader's market right here, as we do, we can basically have like a nothing day and still have $1,000 range, which is kind of crazy. That's always going to be opportunity. I do think that these are going to be more or less not. I think that people's hopes and dreams are probably going to be doused if they're looking for this one to just like literally green dildo its way back up to $50,000 or $60,000, this month, for example. I do think this very likely does take some time, but the longer time that it does take, typically speaking, that will build up a bigger cause, which leads to a bigger effect if you are familiar with Wyckoff terms. And in this case, your cause is being built during this consolidation right here, essentially. So with all of that in mind, looking at momentum oscillators, I want to follow up on daily Joule. We did get a soft buy signal right on over here on the 10th of June, which did actually precipitate the last bear trap that we did see. Again, I want to give a massive shout out because a few people have been more than a few people have actually been showing me not just telling me that they actually traded this bear trap well. They actually show me their positions, which was extremely impressive. I mean, this is not easy to do even for like a professional trader right here. But this trap right here was a little bit more difficult than this trap right here. This one over the weekend was kind of obvious in my opinion. But again, massive shout out to those people, because that is something that a lot of people are going to struggle with, myself included. I will struggle with those. Now, yes, we did call these ones rather well on this channel here, but at the end of the day, I do want to give out major credit to people doing that, because you are doing something that is not easy to fucking do. And if you can do something like that, you probably have a pretty damn good you probably do have a pretty damn good career ahead of you in trading, if I had to guess. Anyways, okay, cool. So now that we are here, let's go check out our momentum charts and see what we got going on right now. We do see daily Stokes still rising up to the fucking heavens, supported underneath 38,500-ish region. So it does look like we have a nice $2,500 buffer zone. Then again, hold your breath, of course, but matching this up with the 2-day, which I believe we just closed last night. Yes, we did close last night, it looks like. Yep. Okay, yes, this is confirmed. We do see that officially the 2-day Stokes have actually gotten out of the bearish control zone for the first time in about a month, actually, going back to May and late April, in fact. And this will continue the upside as long as we're above about 33,200 or so. If we go to the 3-day, same thing. This one freshly crossed the upside and will remain to the upside as long as we're above about $37,000. And while we don't necessarily, we are still within the guise of the bearish control zone. I would say that, hold on, let's pull this out a little bit more. Okay, never mind. There's actually not anything there, but more importantly, I would say that when you see like a little bit of a stutter step like this, typically speaking, that is going to say that the market essentially has confidence in that direction. When you see something like this, it's kind of like a fake out. And I imagine that probably happened. Yep, that probably happened on your bear trap right there. Exactly as you would expect. So, all of these things are kind of lining up with each other. And if we go down to the very low term timeframes, let's see what they're printing right here, right now. Yeah, very interesting here, actually. Looking at the 4-hour, we are consolidating within the bullish control zone right here. Now, of course, it won't cross back onto the upside as long as we're below about $41,000. That would be my short-term resolution to the upside, in fact. And you can see yesterday that there was a try to the upside at about 41,338. In this case, you can quite literally, or at least in my experience, and I do think that this would be one of the few times where I'm, comfortable with this. You can use the top side of yesterday's high as a continuation point. And let me just double check. Yes, it is yesterday's high, and that would be a continuation point. And next short-term target would be about $43,000. I would be looking for a short-term pullback from $43,000, however, which is actually in line with the 4-hour 377 right here as well. Well, let's go back to this chart. Okay, there we go. And then probably play in a range between about $43,000 and $41,000 or $40,000 base to the downside, essentially retesting the breakout of this general range here. Anyways, with that said, it does look like short-term Bitcoin is more or less poised to the upside. Then on the downside, we see 4-hour RSI consolidating within the bullish control zone. I really, really like this. In fact, it's the first time that it's happening since about a month, actually, funnily enough. It's been quite some time, and this is it's actually like spending some time in here as well, which is good. Do we see any sort of divergence calls to be made in this one? Actually, no phantom calls right here, but I can't keep my eyes off of the BBWP. This is telling us that we very likely have a move probably within the next 24 hours. I would even say very, very likely today. Everything granted. And by the way, you can get this indicator completely for free. It's on TradingView. Of course, Caretaker makes it, and you can just type in Bollinger, or I think you actually do have to type in Bollinger Band with percentile. There's also a video on it as well. Pretty damn intuitive as far as volatility indicators go, but this one we just found extremely good results with. Same thing on the 3 hour, all the way on the floor. Same thing on the bi-hourly. In fact, even more so on the floor. And the hourly is actually already leading the party to the to the expansion phase right there. And by the way, the hourly is actually giving us plenty of signals right here for further buys. Plenty of drives of hidden bullish evidence. I mean, I can't even count them all right there. So we do have momentum alongside volatility, alongside trend reversal, alongside higher term time frame support. This is I won't say that you get too many like obvious and easy trades in trading land, but we're seeing a lot of things lined up with each other. So take that as you will. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and looking at even hourly TSI right here. Again, another caretaker indicator. He's reversed them all, baby. He's gonna reverse my fucking hair soon too. It's gonna be great, man. I'm gonna get my fucking hair back. Anyways, looking at this one right here. This one actually roll across the upside. And funnily enough, just like, it's a little bit of an aside. This is specific to Bitcoin right here. This is specific to Bitcoin. When you see daily trends emerge, it's actually funny, but the hourly momentum oscillators typically get some pretty fucking good signals. Now, I typically don't like going down to that low of a time frame, but when things are trending on the daily or higher, hourly actually does get things rather well, all things considered. So I'd suggest that you do backtest that statement, but I would say that my personal results have been pretty fucking good with that. Same thing on the bi-hourly here as well. We do see another potential drive of phantom div printing itself alongside a consolidation around the bullish control zone. Bitcoin just consolidating above the range highs. I'm not necessarily bearish off that, actually. Same thing with the 3 hour here as well, giving us the same signals. And of course, we've already gone through the 4 hour. And all these things will look more or less fine to me. I'm curious what the 12 hour is showing right now. Yeah, this is actually rather interesting as far as the 12 hour does go. We do see 12 hour TSI getting above the bullish buy zone for the first time in, guess what? Another month right here. So I do quite like that. Anyways, let's see. Caretaker Carrington treatment. I like it, man. Caretaker, he takes care of everything, man. You gotta love him. You gotta love the great Irish. Anyways, looking at 12 hour RSI, again, another one that's actually going to be testing around the bullish control zone for the first time in about 2 months in this case as well. So I do rather like this. And of course, the daily is working its way up here too. In fact, rejection of the bearish control zone on that last drive down on the bear trap and following through with the Joule buy signal. However, the Joule signal, I would look for a bit of a short-term pullback somewhere around the next fib right there, which we're getting pretty damn close to. Probably even hit it tomorrow maybe tonight or tomorrow on closure. So I would be looking for a pullback, presumably at the top side of the next like short-term target, which would be about $43,000. Funnily enough, that's also exactly where, or not exactly where, but about where the 200 moving average is as well. Anyways, dear Lord. Anyone excited? Get your positions in before the people start talking about a retest. We are at SOS in Wyckoff. Are we at SOS in Wyckoff? Anyways, looking at this, do we want to compare this with traditional markets? Are they still continuing to make new all-time highs? I believe we are, yes. Actually, yesterday printing new all-time highs, and is the breakout looking like it wants continuation just yet? No, I don't think so. I don't think that this is actually that this is actually a breakout fully just yet. I do think that it will bounce from here back up to about 14,100-ish region, but I wouldn't call it a breakout just yet until we take out yesterday's high. If we take out yesterday's high, breakout is real. I'd still be looking at, general targets towards $15,000 long term. Short term, I don't really have a strong opinion on that. I mean, we're in blue sky breakout, so it's kind of hard to come up with that to begin with. Same thing with SPY futures over here. Exact same setup as well. I mean, it's just stair stepping up. Yes, I do like this, but I probably wouldn't call this a macro breakout till we take out yesterday's high as well. Again, BBWP is suggesting a major move incoming. This is on the daily. I think even the weekly is rather low. It is comparably low, obviously. I mean, it is around a 30 percentile, which we haven't even got back down below since 2017, funnily enough. So overall, I still do remain generally bullish on most major indices. We are seeing rotations, however, as Dow Jones being rotated to the downside. In fact, this one looks like wants even a little bit more downside. But overall, I do see that there are strong correlations between Bitcoin and Nasdaq on the general long-term timeframes, and both of those are looking for a little bit of an uppity up right here. Now, of course, do you have to go over the potential destruction that is potentially coming in the deeper $40,000 territory? So while I am more or less like a short-term, medium-term bullish here, we do have to go back to the biweekly MACD because it's just a signal that has not failed in the history of Bitcoin, albeit there are only 3 iterations, so take that as you will. But anytime that we've seen the biweekly MACD cross to the downside, We've seen it 3 times. We've seen it in 2014, we've seen it in 2018, and we've seen it in 2019. In 2019, what happened? We see the biweekly MACD cross the downside right here. Bitcoin bounces off the 20 simple and bounces a little bit above the 9 exponential average, gets rejected, and down we go, based on the 55, and then new lows after that. Same thing over here in 2018, actually gets the downside cross on biweekly MACD, bounces off the 20 simple into the 9 exponential average right here, rejects, and down to the 55, and well, new lows over time. And then same thing back in 2014, 2015 as well. Get the biweekly MACD cross the downside right here based upon the 20 simple, rallies up above the 9 exponential average, and then rolls over to new lows. And guess what we have going on right here as well? We have the biweekly MACD crossing the downside. We are basing off the white 20 simple moon average. We are bouncing almost into the 9 exponential average right now. It's a little bit higher than where we're currently at. It's about $43,000, and typically speaking, in all iterations, we have seen price action go above that level. So I do think it's very, very possible to get Bitcoin to like 47 or $50,000 even. But ultimately, until we can really close weekly dildos above $50,000 or even dailies, I think daily might do it for me as well. But maybe I'd want to see like an open and closure above there instead, just to be more safe. I do think that there is a bit of potential for pushback within that region, at least historically speaking. Of course, we also have seen this on the 5-day as well. As far as moving averages go, we do see the cyan 89 exponential average having a very obvious interplay with the red 10 simple and the yellow 21 exponential average right here. Anytime that we've seen a major massive rally essentially tip on over and test the cyan 89 exponential average, that has been a very obvious historical play as well. I mean, going back to the last time we saw it over here, we bounced off the 89 after a nice mega rally right here. By the way, 3-month-long consolidation at the top as well, just very interesting. Bounces into the cross between the 10 simple and the 21, even bases above it for a little bit of time, and then rejects, and down we go. Same thing back on over here, based upon the 89, bounces in the cross, rejection, and back down. And same thing a few more times in the history of Bitcoin as well. Back over here, tests the 89, bounces in the cross, and rejection, and down we go. Is there any other times? Not really. Well, I mean, we do have one other time in actually coronavirus times, and that would be the one time where this was not true. However, what is true about it that is consistent is that after we do get the cross right here, Bitcoin does rally up to test into the cross. So that is a little bit of different posturing than what we're looking at currently speaking, because in that case, obviously, we did not dump down to base off the 89. We just dumped down to fucking base off the 377, if anything. But more importantly, all the other iterations look pretty much the exact same to this right here. And that would imply that Bitcoin very likely does pop back up, into the deeper $40,000 territory. That is also consistent with what we see on CME chart, as that is exactly where we do see the $48,000 gap fill right there as well. So while I am short-term, medium-term bullish for Bitcoin, I do think that at best what happens for Boo laws is we rally up as, somewhere around this region. Let me actually put on this chart right here, somewhere around this region right here, probably reject from it, come back down, and maybe base in the upper 30s, maybe low 40s, and try to put in like a weekly higher low or something resembling that. If that were to happen alongside a blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator, I would be very, very comfortable with being macro bullish. And while it probably, becomes boring over the next few months, I'd still be looking for something, generally speaking, like this, like a long form accumulation and an upside resolution long term. Now, if Bitcoin does come back down, we don't get any sort of blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator, and then let's say we take out like this higher low right here at about 35, then, well, I'm probably going to start to entertain more bearish thoughts as far as that goes. But for right now, I don't really see any real reason to be bearish on Bitcoin, even for the short-term timeframes, as long as Bitcoin's above this short-term pivot that we didn't even really test yesterday, which is kind of funny. I guess we were a little bit stronger than what I did first consider, but I had that at about 39,300-ish region. We could see that very obviously the current sort of liquid zone for the low-term timeframes is just between about 39.5 and about 39.7, that is. And for what it's worth right now, this looks more or less fine to me. This is just a clear and obvious consolidation at a high level, for this time frame, that is. And I would be looking for an upside resolution of this. In fact, we could look for perhaps a bit of a measure move here. It is somewhat of a flag formation. This is not super obvious here, but we could make a measure move on this one, I suppose. And let's just see what this would imply. Yeah, it would imply a move up to about $42,000 and probably just continues up to the top side of this little consolidation right here in line with our other targets. So I do think that, very, 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 very likely we do see this move Probably within the next 24 hours. I think very likely today, maybe sometime around U.S. market open. And this idea will obviously be nullified to offer up a bit of an interpretation on the other side. Essentially, if Bitcoin comes back down and takes out this level to the downside, which I would still keep at 39,300-ish region, because structurally speaking, it doesn't really break anything in between where our current sort of wicks are accumulated and where that level is right there. And if Bitcoin does take out 39.3 to the downside, we can start to look for targets back down to 37.5 or 38,000 bucks, and probably try for another bouncy bounce right there. And then I want to come back and see it. But for what it's worth right now, I do see many more things suggesting more upside than downside, currently speaking. And I think maybe that is a good place for me to leave this one off. Perhaps we want to look at a few other things before we get into it. Maybe not. I think we kind of covered most things that I want to speak about. So yeah, let's get on to, or do we want to talk about anything over here? Let's see. Sir, you okay? You okay over there?
Someone says,
I hate V-necks. I fucking hate them, man. They killed my mother and they're disgusting. Fuck all V-necks. Burn them, baby. Fucking burn them. Yeah, there is another signal that I'm looking for here as well, as far as daily goes. Daily DMI minus signal has been completely faded, so this is now free game. I do want to see this come down a little bit lower for the ADX, that is. And if we do see the DMI plus start to inch its way towards the threshold at about 24, then yes, I probably would be looking at that as a good signal that Bitcoin probably does make another actually leap up very, very likely into the deeper $40,000 territory. By the way, it should also be denoted that daily 55 is coming in right around where? 43,000 bucks as well. So I do like this target pretty much on all ends. And on top of that, we do have to remember that, typically speaking, when you see something like this, and this is just general trading knowledge right here, but if you are trading structure, if you are trading breakouts, typically speaking, the first pullback, it's very, very likely to pull back after like the first day of a break of a range. In this case, here's your break of the range. In fact, Bitcoin even closes a daily above the topside Toronto band in this case. Second day after that does pull back a little bit and close below. Typically speaking, as long as you don't take out the low side of the prior breakout dildo, that is usually, I wouldn't say always, but strong probability for just general continuation. It's typically a buy in my experience. So fair enough, but take that as you will. This is not financial advice, of course. And I think it's time now to get onto the comments. So let me turn back on the alerts over here. And let's see what we got as I peruse around the interwebs to see what the fuck we're looking at right now. Okay, we got Mr. Frozen and we got Elsa right here. All right, sweet. Okay, so I want to get back onto this topic as well, and let's give it its due diligence. So I'll bring up what I think people are probably talking about. Here we go. So you're probably looking at like Datamish or something, and you're probably talking about the, let's just go right there. You're probably talking about the Bitcoin shorts and whatnot. So Astralis DP says, bad thing that Bitcoin shorts skyrocketed today. No, in fact, that's not, okay. First off, okay, there are a lot of things wrong with this. First off, the assumption is wrong. If you're looking at short skyrocketing as a bad thing, that's actually quite literally the opposite of the way that this plays. Look, if shorts have already skyrocketed, for example, and I'm going to completely obliterate this whole notion later on. And again, this is not in any way, shape, or form designed to be, rude towards you. It's rude towards this idea. This idea is silliness, and it's just you probably don't know any better, or a lot of people out there don't know any better. And these sorts of things become memes because they sound intuitive, they sound right, but it's completely fucking off. Okay, anyways, the question is it a bad thing that Bitcoin shorts have skyrocketed today? So let's just take this as face value. Again, we're going to obliterate this soon enough, but if we take it at face value, no, that is incorrect. If shorts have skyrocketed within the context of price action, and again, it always needs to be considered within the context of price action. What do we essentially do? I mean, we just popped above the daily range right there. Well, short skyrocketing means that people already sold. They already sold on margin. And if they already sold on margin, and this is a result right here where Bitcoin is literally just holding the range, or sorry, right outside of the range, what does that essentially imply? These people have already sold. What can they do after that? They can only buy back. They can only buy back on those positions. I mean, they can obviously try to sell more as well, but I would assume that if they did sell that much, then they're probably looking at this price action right here, and they're probably like, okay, maybe we cover, or maybe these were hedges all along. Anyways, with that said, no, that would technically be a bullish thing, if anything, because now you have liquidity on the other side to force out of their positions. How do you force them out of their positions? Well, you drive the price up, and then they either hit their liquidation or they close their position. Both result in the same thing, a buy, a market buy as well, which is Usually a market buy, not always. But that can be that liquidity rocket fuel that we were speaking about earlier. Anyways, the reason why this is completely irrelevant, the reason why this is something that you probably shouldn't put any faith in at all whatsoever is first and foremost on Bitfinex. If you read the contract specifications, guess what? These positions can be claimed off the books, meaning that you will never see the other trade on the other side. And what they're probably doing, assuming that this is one general entity or maybe a couple of entities with a lot of money, they're probably professional, meaning that they have, which would be implied by the amount of money that they do have putting on these positions. And if they are professional, what are they using futures for? They're using futures as a hedge. And if they're using futures as a hedge and they shorted on margin, what are they doing on the other side? They are spot long. Guess what? If they claim those positions, that means they already have that spot long position and they can just essentially lift their own offer and take that position off. It's very likely a cover. We saw the same thing like a year or two ago in the same sort of result as well. So typically speaking, that is actually a very good maneuver. Instead of using options, I guess you use futures, which fair enough. I'd prefer to use options in these cases, although I can't because I'm kicked off fucking derivative. So god damn it. Anyways, looking at this right here, the next thing that I'd say to just kind of completely just demolish this sort of an idea is, look, this is on Finex. Finex is fucking irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Look, Finex was relevant in 2016, 2017, 2018, maybe even a little bit of 2019. But its volume in relationship to what like a Bybit, BitMEX, and all those guys do nowadays, as far as futures go, is nothing. And these are obviously futures. These are leveraged positions, so they are futures. Anyways, my point is with this is that you're looking at the wrong data to begin with. You're more or less analyzing the wrong data to begin with, and then you're also drawing the wrong conclusions from the data to begin with. So this is why underlying market dynamics are important, yes, but you really have to know what the fuck you're looking at. And realistically, if you're going to look at any exchange, it would actually be CME. CME is the most professional futures exchange out right now. Yes, OKX technically does more futures volume, but they are also suspected of a lot of wash trading. So I'd say that CME is probably the one that holds the most volume that is, actually real. And all of these exchanges that are in the Wild Wild West probably are very suspect of wash trading. But I do know that there's been a lot of exposés on OKX specifically. And just looking at this right here, I mean, to me, that this is just inconsequential as far as most of this goes. Look, if someone is going to put on a big position, do you think they're going to fucking show you, knowing that their position is going to be public to the, to the world? Fuck no, man. Fuck no. And if you're dealing with money that big, you're using this as a hedge. You're using futures in the way that they're designed to as a hedge. That's why futures came about to begin with. I mean, came about to begin with is what I meant to say. They were essentially created for like farmers and whatnot, so they could like sell their, eggs in a future date and lock in that price because their prices were fluctuating so much and they didn't know, what would be like their profitable, what would be like profitable for themselves. So they would rather take a futures contract date to sell those, commodities, and then they can lock in and actually do their balance sheets and whatnot and their cash flow statements in order to make that work for their business by having a little bit of certainty in the future rather than just oh man, egg prices today are $1 and tomorrow they're $10. Obviously not that exact example, but that's why they were created. So you'd have to think about it as like essentially a hedge in that case. Anyways, Jason Townsend says, can you take a look at the Bitcoin investor tool indicator? Oh dear Lord, this thing again. Yeah, we can bring it up. In fact, it is more interesting than I think what I first gave it credit to, at least if it's the one that I think it is. No, I'm thinking of Bitcoin log curve zones. I think this one's actually significantly more interesting than what the Bitcoin investor tool is suggesting. The Bitcoin investor tool I think is a lot less tested. This one actually does seem to have some merit to it. These ideas are more like ephemeral in the background. I don't really put a whole hell of a lot of weight in them, but if I were to, this one actually right here is rather compelling if you are going for the double bubble narrative from 2013 cycle right on over here, where we essentially base off in the yellow zone. We even trade a little bit above it 4 times, similar to here, and then base on the bottom side of it, even a little bit below it. Same thing here, and then Bitcoin just kind of crawls its way out over the next half year essentially to significantly new all-time highs. Of which that'd be way the fuck in the deep red zone over here, which is around the 120,000 territory. That's quite the call, to be fair, but if you want to specifically look at the Bitcoin investor tool, this is one where you kind of lose me. I think we need to go down to a daily for this. Is that right? Yeah, we do need to go down to a daily for this. Look, this one, okay, so the problem with this one is that there's just not really too much to be going off of here. first off, we go all the way back down. Okay, so we got 3 iterations. Basically, I understand what you're looking at. Like, you're basically looking at that all cycle highs have been put in above the red band right here. And fair enough. I mean, we tested into it on this current cycle, and we have not and we have not traded outside of it. So if you are going off this, historically speaking, you'd say, okay, well, this is very unlikely to be the cycle high. I do kind of err on the side of that as well, but I think that an indicator like this, first off, the name is like a complete turnoff. It's like Bitcoin investor. What the fuck is? It's that simple. The Bitcoin investor tool. But I just feel like there's more definable and relatable ways to actually, derive something like this, whereas this seems a little bit more voodoo to myself than that. I actually want to see exactly what this is printing or what this is made out of here. Let's see. Can we even bring it up? Okay, so it just looks like a bunch of, yeah, it's just a bunch of moving averages right here. To me, okay, how the hell would you get a moving average like that, though? That would be very strange. Yeah, to me, I don't know, man. Look, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. So I'll just leave it at that. It's interesting and just kind of leave it at that. But other than that, I would not feel comfortable saying anything like more direct about it. It's a little bit too far out there for me. It's kind of there with like the moon cycles for me too. But hey, that's I guess it would be another compelling thing to say that the market is probably not done to the upside. But again, I would say that would be like, a tertiary thing for myself. It's interesting. Definitely. I do want to give it merit where merit is due. But I wouldn't make it like the primary main place of my analysis. What's up, Sam? Sam says, appreciate you guys are all good, man. Gold 4-hour daily. Okay. So when you say gold, I'm going to imagine you probably mean spot gold. If you mean like GLD as an ETF, just let me know. They're going to trade more or less the same on the general direction, but looking at this right here, we're getting a bounce off the 10 simple. I think that this bounce probably continues back up towards 1875. It looks like. Let's see what the daily says. Daily is actually a little bit less confidence inducing right here, but I do think that we are looking for a bounce first and foremost next. Daily BBWP is expanding from actually a single digit read, so I do look for this move to maybe eventually come to the downside. I mean, this is a bit of a reversal right there, to be fair. However, let's go down. Let's go over to a weekly again. Okay, yeah, I'm not necessarily bearish on the weekly and the monthly. Look, the higher term timeframes I'm not bearish on at all. So I do suspect daily very likely does bounce from here, and I'd probably be looking for a bounce back up to like 1880-ish region, give or take a few bucks. I do think you could get bullish on this thing once again above about 1890 or so, looking for a move up to about 1950, which I do think probably happens sometime later this summer. But looking at the monthly right here, it tells me not to be bearish. Looking at the quarterly, it also tells me, well, it doesn't really tell me much actually. This is kind of I mean, it's a decent chart, yes, but I don't have a strong opinion on the quarterly actually. In fact, this is it's actually quite the buyback right there, if anything. But yeah, I essentially, if you're just asking about the daily, weekly, I do think that it bounced back up somewhere around like 1875 or 1880-ish region. Above 1890, I'd start to look for another move back up towards these prior highs about 1950. And does that happen this month? Probably not. Maybe July or August, something like that, as the monthlies do look more or less okay in its current posturing. We still got another oh yeah, we still got another 2 weeks to go in this month, so it's a lot can happen. But for now, okay, I do think. All right, sweet. Oh, you're looking at 4-hour. Okay, so let's actually look at the 4-hour too. Yeah, 4-hour, I'd be looking for a little bit of bounce activity right here. Very, very short term, 1867, 1869 regions where I'd be looking towards. Just bouncing off just bouncing off of historical areas right there. Anyways, Just Quasm says, hey good sir, what's up man? Don't mean to pry, but I was wondering if you'd ever consider sharing your trade positions or doing trade alerts for your subscribers. I would never do trade alerts for anyone, mostly because one, it's not gonna be relatable, because first off, I mean, like, I'm probably trading on lower time frames than most people, and I'm mostly doing scalping. I don't really hold like long-term trades, so it probably wouldn't be relevant to most people. I understand that that's what most people want to be doing, and also it also is kind of like illegal, as that would be quite literally financial advice, and I don't think that that's sort of the message that I want to be having. The reason why I don't share my trading positions, which I actually used to have a streaming account. And in fact, you could probably even find some videos still on that, from that era on this channel. But what I eventually did is I eventually just took all those videos and put them into the TA program for those people. But the reason why I did that is because first and foremost, well, I was advised to stop doing that by some people who like actually know what the fuck they're talking about. And more importantly, you know, people are like trying to hack into my accounts, and my streamer account, while it did start off like relatively small, it did end up getting to like an amount of money, like six figures plus, where I was like, okay, I wouldn't feel too great if I lost this. And so I was getting like messages, you know, quite often from my exchange that were saying, hey, someone tried to log into your account, blah, 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 like change your password, or my account would get locked because people would try to, log in. And then somehow, I don't know how the fuck this happened. Like this one really scared me, but somehow people found like my actual main trading account that has like real money, like real money in it. And after that portion, I was like, look, this is a fucking moronic way to do things. You can impress some people on the internet, which is cool, and definitely it gets a lot of subscribers, no doubt about that. But I had to make kind of like a mature decision, I guess. It's like, okay, I could potentially lose my trading accounts, or I can impress more people on the internet, and I decided against that. But yeah, man, I understand it is natural to want to pry. I do think I have still a lot of those videos on this channel. They're just kind of like hidden away, or you have to do a little bit of searching for them. But for the actual like live trades, I used to have like 50 to 100 of them. I uploaded most of them to the technical analysis program, actually, so they're in the background there for you if you so desire. But yeah, man, I don't really want to have also the message of like, here's your trade alert, and it's just like, this is what you do. Because a lot of the time, man, it's not necessarily like a trade alert that makes it a good trade. It's also what the target and risk management for that is going to be. And the way that I do things, especially with risk management, is like to do it manually. So, obviously assuming that I'm at my fucking computer, but, I understand that's not going to be relevant for a lot of people, and it'd probably just lead to a lot of people getting wrecked, to be quite honest with you. Thomas A says, hey, Krown, back to throw another OTC at you. Oh, dear Lord. Can you look at HTZ GQ on the daily? Okay, HTZ. Wait, was this it? No, GQ. Oh my God, Hertz. Wait, what? They trade OCT. Hertz is OTC. Wait, they're like a real company. What the fuck's going on here? 4 hours good, but what time frame are you looking at? On the daily. Okay, specifically the daily. All right, daily looking good. Actually, looking very, very good here, popping above the prior long-term range. Yeah, this is looking like a little bit of a short-term rejection, but I don't think that that's going to spill over into the long term. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Yeah, weekly, I really like here. We do have an obvious reversal on this price action. I'd probably generally be looking back up towards about $12.90 to $13. Long term, I mean, it looks like that's a pretty god-awful chart here. Just one of those straight down charts. Dear fucking Lord, man. Yeah, it is a straight down chart, it looks like. Let's see what the very, very long term looks like. Oh yeah, I despise charts like this, man. Here's what the real chart looks like. There you go. just barfs it out. But we do see a few changes of behavior down here. So yeah, I do think that it probably does pop back up towards $13 or so over the next few months here. And at that point, then perhaps you get ready for another monthly lower high, if I had to guess. It's kind of hard to be looking for a reversal on something that's been going down ever since July 2014. So not the biggest fan of this chart, but yeah, I do think that there is short-term, medium-term upside as far as the weekly goes. Anyways, Lance Spencer says, hey brother, love your content. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All good, man. All good. Could you please look at TTCF? Okay, daily, weekly, tattooed chef. All right, TTCF. All right, this is a new one for me, and it's a real stock. All right, that's cool. This is a completely different chart than what we were just looking at. It only goes up. Not a whole hell of a lot of history here to be going off of, to be fair, but I do like the history that we do have. I mean, technically speaking, it's an uptrend right here. This is kind of an ugly daily that it just closed yesterday, it looks like, and probably is getting ready for a bit of a short-term pullback. Probably be looking for it to come back down and base around like $20.25, $20.50. Long term, let's look at the monthly. I mean, the monthly is more or less fine. I don't have a major issue with this. Long term, I'd probably remain long term bullish on it. Weekly, same thing. I mean, as long as you got these higher lows right here, of which that last one's coming in around 17.5, I generally like it. But short term, do we play it a little bit of sideways and down? I do think so. Presumably maybe down to like 20.25 base or so. But let's see, did you ask anything more specific? Yeah, you did say daily, weekly. Yeah, daily showing a little more pullback signs, but weekly says, look, we might pull back here a little bit, but ultimately long term, this is more or less a good chart. Your next macro breakout obviously going to be back above this level right here, which is about 25.75, and then you got these rising lows coming in from here, which I really, really like. So something like that, you know, anywhere around here is fair game, and it would just be another higher low as well. I do think it's going to generally take its time though, but you got a lot of good things going on right here. Weekly hidden bullish divergence, that's already played out, to be fair. Do get rejected by the bullish controls on its first pass, but that's not an issue. Weekly TSI freshly turning up into the bullish buy zone. I want to see one more week of that, but that looks generally good as well. Let's look at the very short-term time frames. Yeah, 4 hours says it's actually not as 4 hours says, yeah, we might have a little bit of short-term downside, but I still generally like the structure here. So I know that's not too helpful. I'm kind of split on the short term, but long term I do like it, is what I want to be on record as saying. Short term I'm not super confident on it short term, but it would look a little bit sideways and downside, like very short term. Pablo South says, bonjour Krown, what's up, man? Can you Nucor? All right, we got it. Hourly daily, let's do it, man. Our daily look at the old Nucor Corporation on New York Stock Exchange. And what do we have right here? Breaking structure a little bit, not good. But again, this is why we want to be keeping an eye on the long term. Monthly, I still like, man. Could we be looking at a month of pullback coming into what is the next month? July, yeah. Maybe yes, but ultimately, I mean, this is still just an uptrend here. Yeah, that's not going to actually work out right there. But if you're looking at the hourly, what are we thinking here? Hourly is kind of losing it a bit. In fact, short term, I probably would be looking for it to come back down somewhere around like just above 100, like 100 even or so, or 100 and a half. Is that right? Yeah, about 100 and a half. Anywhere around there looks fine to me, but do I think that eventually pulls through? Yeah, I do actually. I do think that it pulls through. So you asked about an hourly and a daily. Look, long term, I really like this chart. I'm not bearish at all on this, on this chart long term. Short term, if it wants to come back down to 100, that's fine. I mean, shit, man, this thing could even come back down to like 94 bucks and I'd still like it long term. Monthly is, yeah, usually this first pullback after a breakout is going to be a buy, but that is a monthly. So that would imply that, you probably have to wait until like late July, if anything. But that's not what you're asking about. You're asking about the very short term timeframes. Looking at the 4 hour right here. 4 hour says, yeah, short term maybe test a little bit more to the downside, but I would be looking for a bounce within this region. So we can kind of cut a few things to the middle right there and finally get a bit more of a bias. Perhaps perhaps just very, very short term, I'd be looking for maybe just a short term pullback down around here. But ultimately, I do think that I will try for a higher low within this area right here and pop back up towards 106. Long term, I really like the chart though. I really want to be on record as saying that I really like it long term. There's no reason, in my opinion, to be in any way, shape, or form bearish on this, especially as long as it's above 100 bucks, but even like 90 bucks, I'd say. Anyways, Super Lily says, hello, sir. What's up, man? Can you look at QNT? Is this Quant? Quant Bitcoin? It is Quant. I remember this one on Bittrex. Holy shit. Hey, pretty good chart. Very good chart, actually. This one would be giving Hex a run for its money. Hey, all right. Maybe we got a new best chart in the cryptocurrency land. This is pretty good. Actually, this is versus Bitcoin. So, well, it's probably even better than versus US dollar. Very, very good right here. Very fucking good. Everything on weekly says continuation. This is a macro breakout. In fact, we do see it's taken out the prior weekly highs. We only really need a couple trend lines right here for anything that is relevant. Basically, yeah, right around that 0.128 region. Breakout is real. We can make a bit of a measure move on this one as well, presumably, as this is something resembling like reaccumulation right here. Something like that is kind of what I'd be looking towards. And actually, instead of doing that, you know what we can do? We can just pull out a fib retracement and plot a few extensions to the upside there. See, let's pull this back a little bit. Hold on. There we go. All right, so we're right at the 1414. Probably does have a little bit of a short-term pullback from where it currently is. However, I don't think they're going to find a top there. Ultimately, I do think this one will work its way up towards, what is this, 2.5 of a cent, somewhere around there. Maybe almost 3 of a cent. but yeah, long-term, I do like it, man. I do quite like it. Man, I'll never get over that Hex guy earlier. The Hex guys were being pretty damn nice until that guy. I mean, Jesus Christ, like what, your fucking marketing strategy is just offend people? Like, Jesus Christ. Very good way to do that, man. Maybe that's the last time I talk about fucking Hex. Cole Evans says, hey, Krown, can you take a look at Cardano USD Binance for our daily weekly? Sure, man. Sure. Cardano USD. Okay, you're looking at 4 hour daily weekly. All right, let's see. Daily's looking fine. Daily's looking like a nice little healthy consolidation right here now. I'd be looking for daily to pop back up towards 173 or so. I still stick with what I said here yesterday. It's really not wise to get like too excited for like a macro break, or I wouldn't say macro breakout, but like a daily breakout until you get back above about 180. But things are looking more or less fine here. I really like daily RSI, multiple drives of hidden bullish divergence. Daily BBWP is coming in from a very low region right here. So if it does, if this expansion phase does come to the upside, which I think it very likely does. I mean, we still have a fucking uptrend here for God's sake. then I'd probably be looking for this one not just to like tag back up around about 180, but probably realistically probably north of $2 once again, maybe around the prior highs. Daily TSI, where do we see this one turn up? Above 167, 168. Yeah, so about 10 cents below that. But short term, it does look like it wants to try a little bit of an upside here. I'd really only get short term bearish on this one if it does trade back down below about 152.5. If that happens, I'd be looking for a retest around the lows at about low 140s. But for right now, man, I do think that this next move very likely does come to the upside. We do see perhaps a higher low in the making right here. Will that populate hidden bullish divergence? It will. If it does confirm, it will confirm with any sort of a closure. Maybe not above last 4 hour high, but especially above the prior one than that, which is 156.79. So short term is more or less sideways and up. Daily looks like it's getting picked up here to me as well. I'd probably be looking at honestly around like 168 or so over the next couple days, and then big area right around about 178 to 180ish region. Weekly is still operating above all major moving averages. Still kind of a sloppy chart overall, but it's the monthly that I think is rather telling. The monthly is more or less just a backfill, and typically speaking, to test some upside after that is what we typically would expect from that. Tokyo, hey, what's up, Tokyo channel? Hey, I hope you and Elsa are doing great. Man, I had a great night of sleep last night. I've actually had 3 good nights of sleep recently, which is really, really nice. Elsa, are you doing well? She is. She doesn't even need to answer. Anyways, could you look at dollar yen on the daily? Sure, man. All right, let's check it out. Let's do the good old Forex over here, which I actually quite like looking at. It's always got some new going on, and what do you know? Monthly, very revealing right here. I would be bullish, generally speaking. I think I have been bullish on this one for a while, and I'll continue to be bullish on this one. Probably coming into next month, I'll be looking for a test up to about 111 weekly. But what time frames did you ask? You asked daily, actually. Okay, well, weekly still good too. I mean, weekly has a reversal in place. I really like this, man. Anywhere above 110.70, which honestly, the monthlies has probably even trade above there, maybe in the next month or two. And I'd start to look for big extensions up to 112.5, maybe in the top side of like the multi-year range here, which is going to be all the way over here, right around about 114.5. Generally speaking, I'd be bullish on this one. Daily is, what do you fucking know? It's bullish. I'd be looking for a confirmed resolution. Probably to even new highs on this rally here with any sort of a closure, or just any sort of a trade above 4th of June, which is what 110.332. Looks pretty good to me. I mean, I think this one's rather cut and dry, as you just have a general uptrend here, a little bit of a reaccumulation after a daily and weekly reversal. Yeah, good. And monthly is monthly's more or less fine here too. I mean, this looks pretty damn good to me above all major moving averages, and holding the range. I'd generally be looking. Honestly, the monthly does say long term. What is this? Deep 113. Yeah, about 113 to 114. So I'd be looking towards. Looks very good. What about the quarterly though? What does the quarterly look like? Quarterly looks pretty damn good as well. And what about the bi-yearly? Because all these are closing at the end of this month. Bi-yearly is a little bit more sloppy, but I do like the other time frames specifically. So dollar actually strengthened a bit. Let's actually go take a look at Dixie and see what Dixie's doing right now. I'm very curious to see. Okay, so we did get that move up to just under 91 bucks actually. Okay, maybe not quite to 91 bucks. We got to 90 spot 675. Where does this next move? I mean, this is starting to look a little more like accumulation down here, which is going to be long-term concerning if you do want to be bullish on assets that trade against the dollar. But yeah, this one does look like it wants to trade up. It's not a death sentence for Bitcoin, obviously, as this is measured against other fiat currencies, not necessarily asset prices, but they usually do have a corollary between the two. And this one is looking for more upside. Yeah, I'd probably be looking for this one to trade back up towards $91 maybe in the next month or so. Weekly, yeah, weekly same thing. In fact, even bullish divergence off the last low. So I'd have to, I would be looking towards 91 bucks, maybe even more over time. Interesting. That would be a good counterpoint to inherent bullishness in the markets right now. What the fuck is this going on right here? Oh dear lord. Oh dear lord. All right, sweet. Let's ignore that for now. Discord's going crazy. Winning Choice 87 says, "Hello, Krown. What's up, man? Can we take a look at car dealership against Ethereum? Okay. We haven't got one of these in a while, but you're talking about this Cardano versus ETH versus the Buterols. Looks pretty good versus Buterol, actually. Looks very, very good. We do have a weekly trend reversal right here. We got our low, we got our high, we got our higher low. This was your prior high, so this is actually a higher high by definition. You know, generally speaking, I would be looking for sideways and up from here on the weekly. Weekly TSI could potentially turn up on this week. However, it's going to take a little bit more above 656 region where we're currently trading, a little bit below there. Generally, I would be long-term bullish on this, but short-term, I'm not so sure. Let's see. What time frames did you ask about specifically, though? All right, sweet. 4 hour and daily, please. All right, 4 hour and daily, please. Oh, so you're not even concerned about this, but monthly is very bullish as well. Daily short-term good. I'd be looking for it to pop back up to 657-ish region. Yeah, it pretty much looks good on all time frames to me. Hidden bullish evidence come off the low. BBWP very, very low inbound right there as well. Same thing on 4 hour here too. Yeah, I'm bullish on all time frames here, essentially, that you asked about. Okay. Jack Asimon, what's up, man? Ethereum, Bitcoin. Oh yeah, let's do this one. Let's see what the old altcoin index looking like. Yeah, still sloppy. Still sloppy on the lows here, but do we get another downside move? It's looking more and more like we do get another downside move. I do believe the 3 days ago, right around here on 13th of June, I did say this one probably does not bottom out right here, except for like a short-term move, and I think I'd be holding on to that now a little bit more tightly, in fact. I do think it does have a little bit more of a downside move, maybe down around like 6 million Satoshis, maybe slightly below there. I want to be very careful with my language here because I'm not bearish on this. That's not the right terminology. This is still like a phenomenally long-term bullish chart, but does it pull back down, you know, a little bit below 6 million Satoshis? It's looking a little more likely, yes. I mean, next major level is going to be right around, about 5.9, 6 million Satoshis this region. So I do think that you get a little bit of a move down there and then probably try for a low within that region. And if you see anything resembling, well, you're not going to have, certainly not going to have hidden bullish evidence because that would be an actual downtrend as we are operating on new lows. And you won't have regular bullish evidence because we are already on new lows for RSI. Well, maybe I'll be wrong about that. Maybe this one is actually going to come down. But look, man, looking at the monthly, there's nothing bearish about this chart. Like nothing at all as far as the macro goes. Short term, yeah, 4 hour wants some downside. 4 hour just got a death cross, not the best one right there, but I mean, we are operating on lower highs right there too, so I'd actually give it a chance to base lower. Yeah, just below 6 million Satoshis. Give it a chance to put in a little bit of a short-term bottom at the very least, but yeah, unfortunate, man. I would have really liked to have seen Ethereum try to for a higher low right here. That would have made things really, really easy, but unfortunately, it looks like the prior analysis was correct, and this one does have a little more inherent downside. Long term, though, I want to be extremely fucking clear. I'm no way, shape, or form bearish on this chart here at all, like in any way, shape, or form. As far as the monthly, as far as the bi-monthly, as far as the quarterly goes, all of these are very long-term bullish charts, but could have a little bit more of a downside stab. Short term, it looks like so. Yes, it does look like so. So take that as you will, but where would I get bullish on this thing once again? I mean, as far as the daily goes, back above this this high right here at about 0.077 region. Short term, your short term pivot's going to be right above 6.8 million Satoshis. Looking good. Hey, what's up, Bitcoin Beats? Have a fantastic wacky Wiki Wednesday, man. Krown, I hit 10,000 subs today. Fucking nice, man. Jesus Christ. Thanks for all the shoutouts. Yeah, man, it's I really like or what I've kind of decided to do recently is like I want to raise I want to use this platform to raise other people up who I think are doing good things. So you're definitely one of them, Hamilton. You've got a great channel over there, and you do a good job, and that's I think that deserves being called out. Now, of course, my channel is not big as other ones, but I'll definitely do what I can, and I want to make sure that like people who I think are doing something good, like they're I'm supporting them in some way, because there's so many people on especially like YouTube and Twitter that are not like and they're probably not like consciously doing a bad job. It's just they don't fucking know any better, but yeah, man, it's I think it's important to do that, and I'm very, very happy for you, man. Very happy for your sus, and good shit. Cyrus 16, but I think maybe I will start calling out the people who keep on fucking copying my goddamn analysis and don't give any credit for it. That will be something, but hopefully the people who I'm actually friends with, it's all good. Like you can use my analysis, no problem, man. You all know who you are. Anyways, Cyrus 69 says, morning Krown. DBC Arca, okay, week month, okay, sure. DBC, okay, so we got a real stock over here. Let's see what this is. Come on, baby, show it to me. There we go. All right, sweet. Okay. And you are looking at what? A weekly and monthly. Okay, so very, very long term. Now, I used to trade on the floor of Arca, and I never even saw this thing come into our pit, or never did I hear this ticker get called out. Now, this was like years ago now, so my memory's probably failing me. But look, we actually do have a change of behavior here. I was gonna call this a shitty chart, but it's not, or at least I'd be wrong on that. Look, you're breaking above the long-term multi-year range highs going back to May 2015. You have a weekly reversal. You have a weekly golden cross. This is the same signal that I was calling out, for like the last month or two, that I absolutely love in traditional markets, especially weekly reversal plus weekly golden cross alongside a break of your weekly range. I mean, I'm not in any way, shape, or form bearish on that. Now, do we spend some time going sideways and down from here? Yeah, I mean, it looks short-term toppy, certainly. I shouldn't say certainly, but it looks very, 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 very short-term toppy, that is. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one come down short-term to like 1850, and then maybe over time somewhere around the 21, which will probably crawl its way up to like just under 18 bucks. But long-term, I do like this. I mean, the reversal is real, the breakout is real, volume signature is very much indicative of a change of behavior here too. So I do like this, and monthly is also closing on new highs as well. So there's nothing long-term bearish about this. This is actually like your real reversal after a 5 to 6 year long accumulation phase. Very sloppy one, albeit, but all momentum oscillators on the higher term time frames are bullish. So it depends what time frame you're looking at, but you are looking at week, months. So yeah, actually we're pretty much on the same page as that. Now, to be fair, it very likely does pull back, on like a daily, but you're not asking about a daily. And I mean, realistically, even the daily is still in an uptrend anyways, but yeah, maybe down to like 18 and a half or 1850 wouldn't really do too much damage, and still long-term, very, very good right there. Very fucking good. Mitchell H, what's up, man? Was typing and then heard you talking about QNT. Could you also take a look at QNT USD on Bittrex, sir? It's a great chart. Okay, so you're a wizard and you can, and you know what people are going to ask. That's nice. All right, we can look at it versus US dollar, which should be, okay, so when we looked at the Bitcoin chart, was that the really good one that we saw earlier? Yeah, it was, because the US dollar chart's even better. Yeah, I mean, very, very good chart right here. Incredibly good chart, actually. And what's more impressive about this, who was this? Mitchell. Yeah, you know what's even very much more impressive about this, Mitchell, is that this chart goes all the way back to 2018. And this one actually started in August 2018. So this one survived the Bitcoin 6 to 3,000 dump in early 2019. In fact, it even actually went up during that time. This is kind of Link-esque, if you will, in the sense that it was doing something completely on its own. I wouldn't say always opposite, because obviously it was going up alongside Bitcoin as well for the last year or so. But it has its own personality. So when you find something like this, you really want to keep it on your watch list, assuming that you are the type of person to trade altcoins, because these deserve a lot of respect if you are going to respect altcoins. The ones that are strong do something different consistently. That's how you know. If they just trade with the market, they're mostly just tethered to Bitcoin's price action, and that can be good, that can be bad. Obviously, in bull markets is great, but this one right here specifically is a very, 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 very impressive chart. And in fact, this would be perhaps the best chart in cryptocurrency land over a long period of time. It has more history than Hex, and it's been going up for longer than Hex, and it is making new all-time highs on a weekly closing basis with continuation very much implied from where we're currently at. So this is a very impressive chart, man. I haven't heard this one being spoken about in like years, and it's very interesting because this is actually one of the better charts I've seen in a long time in this land. Very, 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 very impressive, actually. In the monthly, I imagine, is even better. Yeah, look at that, man. Oh, look at that. And that's probably, and this is what Ethereum people hope that Ethereum does, puts in that long-legged doji deal and then just takes out the top. This one's going to melt for another month or two to the upside. This one's very, very good. I shouldn't say will melt, but very likely to melt. This is a sign of strength right here. This is very fucking good. Very impressive. Can we come up with some targets to the upside? Probably yes, but this one's in clear blue sky breakout territory, and I imagine this one's really like one of the ones to be watching. Anyways, I'd be looking for a short-term pullback at around 72 and a half, maybe plays between there and about 68. Long-term though, I'd be looking for this one over the next maybe like 3 months to half a year to trade up to $100, maybe more. Looks very good and very, very impressive. So good on you, man, for thinking outside of the box and finding something that, truly looks different than the rest of this market. Goddamn kitchen time once again, motherfucker. Hey, what's up, Toby One? Yeah, man, we haven't looked at Hex USD yet. And look, man, there was another like Hex guy in here earlier who's just kind of talking shit. So I'm a little bit hesitant to talk about Hex anymore because I feel like this is just turning into not what I want it to turn into. Look, I'm happy to talk about good charts, man, no doubt. And look, if I'm just looking at Hex, if people just ask me my opinion about the fucking Hex chart, I'm happy to say what I think. I mean, a pullback. It's a pullback, baby. I'd still be bullish on this one, generally speaking, though. But I don't know, how far does one pull back? Are we going to hit 10 cents or what? Anyways, do you see anything significant on the Jewel? I'm rusty. Let's see. Jewel is firing off a little bit of a caution signal, but this is not in any way, shape, or form a sell signal. I do think, though, this really does strengthen my resolve that you see the next sort of medium-term top, maybe even long-term top, somewhere around 10 to 10.5 cent. We're pretty much there. In fact, we already stabbed the 2.272 extension. Usually you don't top out at the 272 to be fair, but usually you want to see one at the 414, the 618 in this case, and that's I think I'd still be kind of looking around there. I don't really have a reason to be looking at this rally as done just yet until it comes back down below about 7 cents. Short term, you got a little bit of regular bearish divergence. It looks like very likely already kind of halfway playing out. Maybe another stab down to actually 7.25 or so. But I very rarely do you see markets like top out at a level like that. We are kind of like cutting them relatively close. Like how high did we get here? We got to 9.8 cent. I mean, maybe you could say that's good enough for 10 cent. That is pretty fucking close to 10 cent. I'd be cautious on this one. I do think that you probably go into a little bit of a sideways and downside consolidation. Maybe there's one more try to like 10 or 10.5 cent, but ultimately I do think you're in for a little bit of sideways consolidation, and perhaps a little bit of downside, maybe down to 7 cent. Now below 7 cent, I would call the rally over, at least for now, and I'd be looking for a sideways consolidation between about 5 cent and 7 cent or so for a while, and then maybe it gets another try later on, over the years. But it's hard to hate the monthly. I mean, the monthly is obviously very bullish, so it really depends how we close these next 14 days here. But as far as it goes right now, if you put a gun in my head and said call it Krown, I'd say probably one more stab up. It probably does get one more try up to like just above 10 cents, gives you that nice round psychological even number, and then plays out some sideways and downside, and maybe gets reaccumulated, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Anyways, yeah, man. Look, and Toby, I've a lot of respect for you, man. You've always been very, very nice and courteous towards me, and always been very fair. But and for the most part, like the Hex people have been pretty fucking nice to me. But goddamn, that guy earlier makes me not want to ever talk about that thing again. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, like you're gonna threaten me if I don't sing the praises like exactly as you want. I don't think that's wise, man. So and that's inevitably going to happen, man. This one's been a pretty damn good chart for the history that it's had. It's been one of the best charts in cryptocurrency, and I do stand by that statement. But at some point, it will top out and it will come down. And you're going to see, you're going to see a consolidation as you typically do. It doesn't mean that it's over for forever, but as marks typically do, a healthy consolidation typically does lead towards long-term continuation. And at that point, I'm going to have to say some things that probably a lot of those people don't like, and we'll see how quickly they turn on me at that point. But for now, I think we're getting close to that point, but probably does try one more time to the upside, I do think. Anyways, Mitchell H says on the daily, I guess we kind of already got that, but yeah, still good chart no matter which time frame I put it on, man. Looking pretty damn good there. Very impressive for quant. Very fucking impressive. Stock Series, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Bruh, let's look at Ocean USD daily weekly chart, exchange of your choice. Sure. We got over here Ocean USD. On Binance. All right. Let's see. Okay, so a little bit of bullish evidence come off that last low. Short term, I'll be looking for this one to pop up to like 6.25. Sorry, it's 62 cent. Jesus Christ, 62 cent. Realistically, with the way that Bitcoin's going right here, if Bitcoin takes a leg up towards the mid to deeper $40,000 territory, I'd be looking for this one to pop up to the top side of the daily range. That's about 71.5 cent right here. That's your next big level. I'm not hugely a fan of this chart in comparison to most altcoin charts. This one is, again, as we said yesterday, par for the course, but you do got some good things going on here. Oh, it looks like we already have everything that's relevant here. Anyways, we do have some good things going on. Daily Jewel is given a soft buy. Daily TSI is turning up. Daily RSI already hidden bullish, or not hidden, but regular bullish evidence off that last low. Short term, 61.5 cent, and then I'd probably be looking for general continuation up here to 72.5 cent. You look at this death cross right here. These are the type of death crosses that are very unlikely to work out. And while I'm sure a lot of people are beating the war drums on that, they're probably going to get a very expensive lesson. And in waiting for like an actual good and relevant death cross, if they even want to do that to begin with. Weekly, I mean, it's a long-term uptrend, yes. But as far as a short-term consolidation goes, I'd say this one's a little bit maybe on the relatively weak side, but it's going to follow Bitcoin here. I would be generally looking for some upside off this area, to be honest with you. Okay, cool. And then you're also saying one more, Ethereum USD, daily, weekly, exchange of your choice. Okay. Yeah, man, we should definitely look at Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum kind of, so I look at Ethereum as like par for the course, essentially. Neither weak nor strong. It's right there in the middle. You can see it's basically in the middle of its range here. Okay, why do I keep on having this fucking trend line in there? Jesus Christ, that is not what I would be having. You know, you got your lows right here. You got your highs right here. Yes, I do think next move does come to the upside, to be fair. Daily momentum oscillators, what are we looking at? Daily TSI is going to very likely turn to the upside right here. So I do like that for a little bit of short-term push up to, let's call it like 2,700 or so. Again, this is assuming that Bitcoin takes a leg up to like 43,000 bucks. So and which I do think is going to happen here. And to be fair, Ethereum's consolidation on the daily is more mature than Bitcoin's, to be quite honest with you. We see BBWP getting into the teens now, which is a good sign. We want to see it get a little bit lower than that, obviously long term, for it to be potentially a macro pivot on this market. But things are aligning with that, and seeing that this is a bit of a laggard in comparison to Bitcoin, you probably do get some like that. I would imagine volatility continues to contract as long as you're within this range, if I had to guess, you know, just based off experience. But you know, anywhere above yesterday's high, which is 2640, I'd extend targets to almost $100 higher than that 2730-ish region. Probably just gets a free ride up to the top side of the range after that. And while, you know, it very likely pushes back after the first test, assuming that Bitcoin does take another leg up, I'd probably be looking for this one to take one as well, somewhere around like 3,300 or so, you know, give or take a few bucks. Weekly, you know, not as strong as Cardano, in fact, as referenced by the Cardano Ethereum chart, actually. Yeah, this one's a little bit more difficult on the weekly, to be fair. You know, if anything, I'd actually like to look at it on the monthly, and I do think the monthly is your best Bula hope here for Ethereum, actually. The reason why is because when you have a long-legged doji doodle like this, and you don't immediately take out the downside of it, it's usually not going to be a reversal type of doji dodo. Typically speaking, when you are seeing something like this with a doji that's printed outside the topside Toronto band, those are the ones that usually are a bit of a fake out. And assuming that this month does close above the topside Toronto band, which is currently speaking 2650, you know, a mere $100 away from it right now, essentially. And even below the top side of the daily range there, then, you know, I'd feel very comfortable saying this is not going to be reversal. This is going to be continuation. But that obviously takes another almost 15 days left to go. So Bitcoin looks like it's inching its way up into the mid 40s now. Looking at this one right here. There you go. Powerful Bitcoin Bulas showing their hands slowly but surely. Anyways, BK says, what's up, BK? Hey, Krown, can we look at Matic USD on the 4-hour daily weekly? Yeah. I think I got it right here. Let's see how Matic is holding up here as well. This one, obviously, oh, okay, yes, Matic is pulling through. Yes, good. We want to see the strong ones operate well, and Matic is doing it now. I'd be looking for Matic to pop back up to 180 plus. But what time frames are you asking for? Okay, 4-hour daily weekly. All right, let's go. Let's start off low. 4-hour, a little bit of a short-term pullback, perhaps. Back down to like 154 is certainly not out of the question. So very short-term, sideways and down, but I do like the golden cross right here. This is an example of a decent one, but I would be looking for it to base once again, try for a higher low. Daily, we already kind of went over. I am not bearish on it, especially as long as it's above the 21. In fact, this is typically a very classic play. This is one of those like weird plays that my mentor taught me that just, I don't know, man, it just works out more often than not, where you see a closure above the 21, and then your next test back down, typically on a backfill to it, is usually at the very least a scalp buy. And in this case right here, it's already, you know, you already have a pretty good lift off for that. But do I think that it's going to get further incubation to the upside? I mean, you got plenty of good signals right here. You got daily RSI, hidden bullish evidence off that last low. You got daily TSI about to freshly turn up with any sort of a closure above 169 today, but that will naturally move down coming into tomorrow. So if I did have to call it, I do think it's a little more likely to pop back up to like 180 plus. Weekly is, you know, fine to me. And then more importantly, the monthly is, I'm just not bearish on something that looks like this, man. So I do still like this chart. And again, one of the better charts over the last year or so. So I do like to give it the benefit of the doubt. And, you know, you still got higher lows here, to be fair, as well on the daily. So it's more or less okay. And should I offer a point on the other side? Yes, I should, just because the lower term time frames do look like when I have a bit of a pullback below 150, I would let go of those views, or basically below yesterday's low, essentially. Yeah, which is about 153. So a little bit lower than that, and I'd start to look for another move back down to about 133. But I think it's a little bit less likely to happen here. But that is what would kind of reverse my own views on that one. Pablo South says, going long on the likes. Oh man, are we getting some likes? Are people liking this video? Fuck, 330. What the hell is this? I'm just kidding, man. Look, if you want to like the video, like the video. If you don't want to like the video, then dislike the video twice. And also make sure to hit the bell and the subscribe thingy as well too. Actually, it's kind of funny. I did look at the statistics the other day. Apparently, like less than 10% of people who watch these videos are subscribed to this channel, which is like really, really interesting. How do you even like fucking find this shit to begin with? You know what? Elsa wasn't even subscribed to this channel. She didn't even fucking subscribe to this channel till the other day. How crazy is that? She zero fucking respect. Yeah, you were. No, I've heard that like some people get automatically unsubscribed. So I don't know what that's all about, but just you know, just a heads up right there. they don't like the hate and leave voice. Okay, fair enough. I can understand that too. I'm a very easy person to hate, I suppose. Pablo Sass says, going long on the likes, please look at CLNE hourly daily. Sure, ma'am. CLNE, Clean Energy Fuels Corporation. All right. And you're looking at hourly and daily. All right, so we got the daily right here. Kind of sloppy, short-term toppy, but I suspect long-term it's okay. Yeah, long-term it's popping above the range, so it's probably fine. Hourly reveals a lot in this case, and traditional markets do actually operate rather well in the hourly, funnily enough. I mean, you still just got higher lows right here. I think you probably grind this area out a little bit more and then try for another rally back up towards $11.5 to $12. Dailies, you know, more or less fine. I don't have like a major issue with this. If it wants to come back down and base a little bit lower, I'd just look at like 9.25 as an opportunity. But let's see, if we're going off the short-term timeframes, 4 hours a little bit more sloppy, to be fair. Yeah, I would say below the low side of this current range, which is about $10.5, I would look for another try back down towards like 9.25, 9.5. But I want to be very clear in what I'm saying here is that I'd be looking at that, generally speaking, as an opportunity. I do like the daily for, you know, basically just looking at this as like a sideways consolidation. Weekly, same thing. Weekly's fine. Short term, it actually does suggest a little bit of downside here. But here's the important stuff, man. You just went through about 5 years of accumulation on the lows, but from 2016 to where we're at in 2020. To me, the reversal is real. You got a weekly reversal right here. You don't have, you did have the golden cross over here on the weekly, but that was ages ago and already kind of got that first initial splurt to the upside. So let's look at the monthly actually. Yeah, monthly just says sideways range here and then probably upside resolution. I do like the monthly. So short term, you know, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably say sideways and a little bit of downside. But, you know, weekly, monthlies start to look pretty damn good for the long term. So again, it depends exactly what time frame you're looking at. But if you're specifically asking about the hourly, I mean, the hourly is just going sideways and up actually. So fair enough. I mean, hourly and 4 hour look completely different here. This is so bizarre. Man, this is a hard one. I just have to say, you know what, man? A healthy amount of I don't know is the right answer on the short-term timeframes. I don't know. I'm getting a lot of conflicting signals here. Let's see what momentum also to say. Okay, 4 is a little bit more in bullish posturing, I suppose. Same thing with hourly as well. I guess sideways and up on the short-term timeframes, but I do not feel confident about that. It's the higher-term timeframes like the monthly and whatnot that I do like. Okay, Nero Strutton says, Krown, bruh, why can't you use the hash ribbon on an asset like Ethereum with a long history? Well, first off, there's not that much long history, sir. What do you consider long history? Bitcoin has 12 years. Ethereum has about 5 or 6. And also, I don't believe that it even is like, it's not even relevant for it as well. Like, you're going to just find you're going to see the exact same signals as you do on Bitcoin. That's why, because the indicator is literally only pulling the data for Bitcoin. That's why. I maybe you could make like a hash ribbons for Ethereum, but I suspect that they're, you know, if they go to like proof of stake or proof of work or whatever the fuck it is, I'm not the person that's about this, but I suspect that that's going to change around the like the fundamentals of that. So like the blunt answer of that is, well, the reason why you don't use it on Ethereum is because it's like literally tethered to Bitcoin. Like look, I can go to fucking SPY, I believe, and it'll just show Bitcoin's maneuvers here. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's a hash ribbons on SPY. Where are the miners at right now? It's like, read the indicators, man. Make sure you know what you're looking at, because that would be the easy answer for it. I'm sure that you could probably make something similar to that for Ethereum, but I do understand that they have a bit of a different setup, so it'd probably be a different interpretation as well. That would be my answer for that. Hey, what's up, Mr. Gwyn? My guy, Krown, can you check out BCRX 30 minute? Okay, in 4 hour. Okay, this is probably a stock. BCRX. It is. It's the biofarms back at it again. All right, you're looking at 4 hour and 30 minute. Okay. Remember we looked at this one yesterday? A little bit of a short term. Well, let's go back to my regular charts over here. BCRX. Here we go. All right, let's see what this one looks like here. Okay, wait, first off, on daily, I probably would be looking for a bounce relatively within this region, about 15.5. it does look rather likely around there, and we're pretty much there already. So I would be looking for a bouncy bounce, maybe one more short-term stab lower, like 15 and a quarter to 15.30ish region, but I do think that you are looking for a bounce relatively soon. Anyways, you are specifically asking about a 4-hour and a 30-minute. Okay, 30-minute. Let's do this one. This is a real stock, by the way, so this will actually be okay. Actually, we have a little bit of hit our regular bullish evidence come off this current low structure, so probably extremely short term. I do think you probably get another test back up to like 15.90, $16. I would be looking at this as a bit of a range right here, however, meaning that as long as you're below this region, it's kind of hard to get excited for like anything new, like any like major new change of behavior. Above there, I would be looking for perhaps extension to 16.5, but I do think it's a little less likely, to be honest with you. I'm going to the 4-hour. I do think it's got a little bit of downside here, maybe like a 15.30ish region, but you want to bounce territory on your higher term time frame, so it is important to be aware of these. But is this going to be the bounce that is the one bounce to rule them all before long-term continuation? That I'm not so certain of, because your long-term is based off the monthly right here, coming in from this region, and he actually did close above it. So technically speaking, I should be looking at that as very likely a basing area. So you know what, short-term timeframes do need to be taken into consideration with the long-term timeframes, because this level right here, right around that low 15 and a quarter read that we just spoke about, that quite literally is like your macro monthly breakout. Like we're looking at a 30-minute and a 4-hour, so just perspective here, obviously. But I would be looking for this one to maybe have a very short-term pop back up over, around here, maybe get rejected from there, try for another, another drive of bullish evidence off the lows, somewhere in like the mid to low $15 region, and then give another try long-term. But I really like this chart long-term, like very, 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 very in love with this chart long-term. 30-minute actually does have a lot more signals saying up than down. We got 30-minute TSI also ready to turn around as well. What about BBWP? We are trending down right here, and when you're kind of trending down on BBWP alongside playing out a range on your lows, I mean that is usually going to be a healthy consolidation in this case. So I again, size maybe a little bit of sideways and down here, but long term I really like it. 4 hours actually expanding already. Okay, fair enough. What about weekly? Or look at the weekly. Weekly says we could test a little bit lower and it wouldn't even be problematic, like 14.5, but I don't think I'm there just yet. I'd look for a bounce off the daily first and then come back to it. Give the daily a chance to bounce, and then we'll come back to it maybe like later this week or next week. Crypto Farmer says, can you look at PLU USD? Okay, what is this? PLU USD. Okay, oh, it's a thing. It's a Pluton. A Pluton. Is that from fucking like Star Trek or something? On the 1 minute. Okay, we can do that, I guess. My brain is broken, sir. What the fuck is this? Holy shit, man. This is quite the thing. What the hell? Oh my god, man. My this actually hurts my eyes, man. I don't Jesus Christ. That is a weird looking chart. If we look at the daily over here, it looks like shit though. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, this one's definitely relatively weak, but perhaps a little bit of power in Bitcoin can help this one out. Specifically on the 1 minute though, I don't know, man. I don't know about this one. It's a little bit concerning for my eyes. Not necessarily a bad chart, but just concerning for my eyes. Jack Assiman says, Zer, could you please check out, yes, Eurodollar. Yes, let's do that. Let's definitely do that. So we got some more Forex. This is good. Very good. Okay, 121 or so. Okay, this one on the 1 minute actually still looks pretty bizarre too. I mean, Jesus Christ, what the hell? Yeah, that is just an eyesore for me. All right, now what time frames were we looking at? Daily, weekly. Okay, cool. All right, so daily, I'd be looking for a little bit of a short-term bounce, probably back up towards 121 and a half, 121.6 region. Weekly is more difficult. I'm not necessarily certain that we have like the lows in on this consolidation just yet. I do think the weekly suggests a little bit more of a downside drive, perhaps even another test down to like 120 over time, but very, very short term, I would be looking for a bounce up. Let's see, what about 4 hour? Yeah, 4 hours kind of sloppy sideways and up here too. I'd probably give another chance to bounce back up towards like 121.6, maybe even 121.7 region. Generally speaking, I think it's going to trade very, very short term sideways and up. If you see any sort of weakness right around or anywhere below 122, I'd probably be looking for generally another move back down. But long term, this one's bullish as well. God damn it, who is messaging me on TradingView? It's the worst way to do it. Oh my god, man. Oh my god. This is the worst way to contact me ever. I never respond to messages on TradingView. and also a hair comment as well. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Make me never want to talk to you again as well. Yeah, man, you know, it's all there on the website. We have support team that can address those sorts of things. I'm not that person. I don't take care of that any longer. And I'd appreciate it if you would be respectful of, you know, our current setup. That would be amazing. Anyways, yeah, as far as Eurodollar goes, yeah, short term probably test a little bit of upside, but I don't think this one's ready to like just blast off to the moon just yet. Let's see what the monthly's looking like. Monthly's long term bullish, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. I don't know. Maybe this is the low right here. Maybe it does just green deal its way back up. Weekly has me inconclusive on this one, but weekly says I'd probably be waiting on a little bit more of a structure going on down here. I do kind of want to see it put another like obvious higher low. Monthly is long term bullish. I don't think there's any question about that. Quarterly is fine as well, long term. And then what about the 6 month? Yeah, 6 month is, oh wow, 6 month is very obvious right here. Low, high, higher low, higher high. I'm long-term bullish on this one. Probably looking at like, you know, over the next few years, getting back up to like maybe even 130 plus over the next few years, that is. But if you're specifically asking about the daily and weekly, I don't feel as confident on these ones. Daily does look like it wants to have a bounce back up here. Weekly, I'm not so sure that this is like the bounce that's going to lead on to new all-time high or new highs on this run just yet. That's kind of my disposition there. I still think it has more time in that consolidation, which could include another higher low on the weekly. Anyways, Shahar says, hey bro, Kiro USD on daily. Okay, Kiro USD on daily. All right. See. Hey, that's not a thing, sir. I can't get that. I don't think that's a, or at least TradingView doesn't have it. Unless you're talking about, oh, this thing. Okay, so this is versus Ethereum. It's not going to be versus US dollar, but it should be. Oh my God. Holy shit, man. What is this thing? Oh my God. This is a very scary chart for myself. Look, man, I can't tell you anything that you don't already know on this one. It's in a blue sky breakout. Volume is increasing on this, so it probably does have more on this run, but I don't trust charts like this, to be honest with you. I imagine it's extremely low liquidity. Look, if you look at the volume signature at the top left, there are plenty of days throughout 2020 where it actually literally doesn't trade at all, zero volume. And then more recently, this is 53 volume right here on today. This major spike right here is about 559. So this is nothing. It's hard to make much out of this. It's a good chart for what we have, but I don't have an opinion that I can give you in good faith on something like this, man. It's just it's only going to take one person to sell to bring this thing back down to basically zero. But you know, fair enough. At least for the time that it has been around, it's been pretty good. I imagine the US dollar pair is probably more liquid, but you don't really have to be too much more liquid in order to be more liquid than this thing. Jesus, man. It literally will just take one person to slam down the whole fucking books here. That is scary. I mean, this is a strong potential for rug pulling here. This is a strong potential for rug pulling, but if you put a gun to my head, I actually would say more upside short term. I mean, it's just a parabolic blow off top, and these things usually do go a little bit more than what you do suspect, but at some point, man, I'd be very, 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 very cautious with this thing. But at least for now, it's okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Tokyo Channel. But no message. But you already know, man. What's up, Matu185? Hey, can you look at stock CPA1T? Okay. CPA-T. Okay. And this is Estonia? This must be Estonian exchange. Or at least that's their flag, I believe. I actually lived in Estonia for a little bit. It is. Daily has hit the target so far. Has hit all the targets so far. Also, it's a new bank in Estonia related to food chain. Interesting. Very interesting. It's actually very interesting, man. Estonia is quite like a forward-thinking country in terms of technology, so it's interesting to see them kind of lead in that direction. You wouldn't have thought so. I mean, typically, I didn't even know what the fuck Estonia was before I moved here. But that's also because I'm American. Anyways, look, it's very good. It's very fucking good here. I'm trying to find a reason not to like it, but I can't actually. And this is also linear scale too. Look, you know, you are within a consolidation range right now, but this is a healthy consolidation range that very likely does have an upside resolution. Anywhere above last week's high, I'd be looking for a retest of the highs here over the next, few weeks, and then probably new all-time highs. This is obviously reaccumulation at a high level for right now. Maybe it puts in another higher low somewhere down around like low $2, like 210 or so. But long term, I like it. In fact, if I do bring up momentum oscillators, it does suggest we probably do spend some more time within this range. I don't think it's like ready to blast off to the moon just yet, but long term, I don't see any real reason to be bearish on this thing, especially as long as it's above $2. And let's see what the monthly looks like. Yeah, not a whole hell of a lot of history on the monthly, but monthly's fun. In fact, monthly says that we might even try for new all-time highs next month, but pretty damn good. If you close anywhere above last month's high, I'd feel confident saying that you probably do make new highs on this run coming into July or August. It's generally a good chart for the history that we do have. I do like it. All right, Toby One says, didn't see it. Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good, man. Look, I totally understand Toby One. Most people are, most people are reasonable in general, as we all know, and it just takes a few morons to kind of ruin it for everyone else. But yeah, man, I'm glad that you can kind of be a more reasonable ambassador, and I really appreciate that, man. I actually really do appreciate that. And again, I totally understand. Like, there's just going to be that narrative for like every community, right? I mean, Bitcoin has it too, man. Like, fucking hell, man. I saw Peter McCormick. Peter McCormick went to go meet the president of El Salvador. What does Peter McCormick wear as basically like a Bitcoin ambassador almost to the president of El Salvador? He wears a fucking Metallica shirt with cut jeans. He's like 50 years old. So look, man, I like dressing like a bum too, no doubt about it. But like if I were to go to the president's, like if I were to go to any president's office, like I'd show them. It's like a respect thing, you show them a little bit of respect. It's just what you do. I mean, how would you like think about it? You're a president of a country. Look, it's a small country, whatever. It's still a president of a country. Like, give them some goddamn respect. I mean, you just and the reason also why you do that is because you know that the cameras of the world are going to be on you while you do that, and it's like, what's representing the face of Bitcoin right now? This fucking guy. And look, Peter McCormick's probably like a fine guy. He's probably a nice guy, but I can't get that goddamn interview with Eric Weinstein out of my head with him. Eric Weinstein just completely revealed this guy as like, I mean, he sounded like a fucking child. Like, it's counterfeiting. Government's counterfeiting. It's like, okay, no, it's not actually. They can do this. Like, obviously I don't like it, but if you call something counterfeiting that is not counterfeiting, you're going to be treated as a child. And that is ridiculous. Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's very interesting to see which like influencers really get like in that position. That's very, very bizarre to see. And I don't want to sound like I'm talking shit about him, man. It's just like, look, man, have some awareness. Have some fucking awareness, for the love of God. Chris says, can you take a look at Link? Is there an inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour play now? Let's see. Link, where are you? I loved even how like Tyler Kling was like, okay, man, maybe you don't say that in this. It's like on his side too. It's like, ugh, not the way I want this conversation to go. Anyways, can you take a look at Link? Is there an inverted head and shoulders on the 4-hour play out? Let's see. No. No, but I do think that you got something decent going on here anyways. Look, technically speaking, is it an inverted head and shoulders? No, it's not. But you do have something that's relatively interesting here nonetheless. Look, if you do just take out the last sort of 4-hour swing high at about $26, I'd be looking for this one to move its way on to $29.5, $30. And I do think that's generally going to happen as well. Again, assuming Bitcoin takes a leg up here, it's just easier to watch Bitcoin in these cases. But you got a good setup for a little bit of a short-term move. You got 4-hour BBWP coming down to single digits, it looks like. Hourly's probably already there and setting in what appears to be a little bit of a low. Yes, indeed it is. We got an hourly golden cross, so it's moon time once again. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to pop back up to like 25 3/4 to $26. Above 26 1/4, I would extend targets significantly towards I guess about 28 or so, I think I said earlier like 30, a little bit under $30. Look, this one's kind of following right now. It's unfortunately no longer relatively strong in this market, but you see a lot of good things going on. Daily TSI can turn up right here. Daily RSI is rejecting the bearish controls. I generally think it's going to follow Bitcoin here and probably make a leg up towards those targets, and ultimately probably even find its way back up towards probably back up towards former glories of this daily range at the very least. hopefully for its sake. But I have some faith in Link there. Technically speaking, no, not an inverted head and shoulders, but I do think you got a few good things going on there, regardless of the fact. Thomas A says, one more for you. All good, man. AMP USD Gemini daily. Okay. Let's see. So this one trades on Gemini. Can't be that bad then, because Gemini is regulated. Yeah, and it's a very good chart here. Oh wow, very, very powerful chart. Yeah, another very good altcoin chart. We only have about a year history on this one, a little bit less than a year, so it's not. You can't say it's as impressive as some of the other ones that have been around longer, but it's among the better ones. Absolutely, absolutely, it's among the best. Weekly strong as fuck. Now, what time frames did you ask about? Daily. Okay, specifically daily. Well, it isn't a blue sky breakout, so in these sort of situations right here, there's not too much that you can do. I like looking at volatility-based indicators in these cases to kind of denote potential local highs and maybe some fib extensions in line with that to see where those potential local highs might come around. I do think that you have a little bit more continuation here, probably somewhere around just under 10 cents, and then play at a bit of a range between 10 cents and like 9.2 cent or so. You're pretty much already there. Long term, though, I don't think it stops there. Long term, I mean, volume signature, structure, shape, size, taste, smell is all good here. Everything's kind of pointing towards long-term continuation. Major levels long-term are going to be about 14 to 15 and a half cents is where I'd be looking towards. So I do like that. And I do think that this one will continue long-term, but short-term, a little bit of a pullback, just under 10 cents is probably where I'd be looking for. And then long-term continuation. This is very impressive. Another very, very interesting chart, all things considered. And the weekly is just one massive green dildo party. Gotta love it. Hey, what's up, Darius McLeod? Welcome to the cave, sir. Welcome to the cave indeed. Nate says, can you check out MVIS on the hourly and daily long from 2077? All right, let's see what Nate's got in his pocket here. Nate's like the master of finding these like just very, very interesting stocks. All right, so you're looking at hourly and daily, I believe it was. Yep. You're long from 2077. Okay, so you are, you're a little bit non-in-profit. You kind of, it looks like you're trying to play the breakout right there. I mean, it looks like this one is breaking out regardless of it. I think that this is typically like your first sort of pullback after a breakout move, which is typically, in my experience, a buy, or at least, more often than not. Sorry, that was a weekly, actually, that I was just looking at. Hourly is down. Hourly is down and probably does take a little bit of a dive lower, somewhere around about 1965 to 1970-ish region. Sorry, is it that low? Sorry, no, I would rejudge that about 1990, between 1990 and 1970-ish region. I'd be looking for a short-term daily. Daily does have a little bit of short-term down as well, but long-term, weekly, the breakout is real right here. Again, another one of these charts that I really despise long-term, but you do have to give this one credit because it actually is popping above like prior very long-term macro ranges going back more than 10 years now, actually. So that breakout is real. Long-term, I would be bullish on this one, probably looking for it to take stabs up towards 28.5 to $30 if I had to guess. But it is sloppy. It is very sloppy. So that's kind of the reason. That's another reason why I don't like playing these sort of stocks here. Solvereign was asked me about that the other day, and he brings up some good questions. Like, look, there's more potential opportunities in these things. Yeah, absolutely. But there's also a lot of there's also more potential risk as well. Like with a Microsoft, you don't have to worry about. Well, you have less of a worry about them like coming down and saying, I don't know, Microsoft was all a scam, and the stock's going to go to zero. Probably not going to happen, or at least. It could happen. It's just the probability of that happening is a lot less than something like this, which has just been getting absolutely shreked for about 20 years now. But at least the monthly reversal does look like it's in progress. We do have a higher low right here. Yeah, I do think it will trade up somewhere around like $30 or so long term. But that is long term, man. If you're asking about an hourly and daily, both of those are kind of sideways and down. Maybe tries for a higher low somewhere around like. I mean, you still have a higher low right here. Does it come all the way down to like $17 for a higher low though? I don't have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on the long-term upside. Short-term is sideways and down. All right, anyways, you're using Monday's wick to manage, but it already looks droopy with yesterday's close. Yeah, I would agree. It does look droopy with yesterday's close. You could use that. You're talking about 14th of June. Low as risk management. You could use that. I think you'll get 1961. I think you'll get taken out of the position. Just play the fucking. I mean, I'd probably do the same thing and play the position there too, assuming that I was like stuck with that to begin with. But this is also why I do not like trading breakouts. And while this is like looking like a breakout on the weekly scale, it is not necessarily on your lower term timeframes. So you are going to get more of an ebb and flow there. It looks like. Okay, cool. White Lotus of Light. that sounds very enlightening. Krown, try to find you on Chivalry 2 as Total Krown, no dice. I'm on PC, man. I'm on PC, sir. So you gotta add me on Epic Game Store, sir. Add me Garot Jax. I'll have to write that one down. Sushi USD daily, weekly. Okay, daily, weekly on. Yeah, we haven't looked at sushi in a long time as well. Is this thing like the popular? Oh dear lord. Oh my god, man. Holy shit. Wow, this one got absolutely schlacked. Is this the right chart? This, okay, this is Sushi P. Sushi P. Okay, that's probably not right. Okay, I don't think that's the real chart because I remember this one had like a pretty good chart, right? Yeah, let's try maybe this. Yeah, let's try maybe this. Okay, yes, that's a much different chart. All right, cool. Still though, on the on the daily here, this one is certainly relatively weak. If I was just looking at this chart, I'd be like, okay, this is awful. I'd be looking for another move back down to. Wait, why am I on percentage right here? Hey, what the fuck is this? I want numbers. There we go. There we go. How the hell did that happen? That was very bizarre. Look, man, if I'm just looking at this one, I'd be looking for another retest of the lows. But you know, it's in cryptocurrency and it gets traded with cryptocurrencies. I mean, weekly's weak as well, man. Look, look, if I'm just looking at this chart, I'd be looking back down around 8.25. There's no reason to even be short-term bullish on this thing as long as it's below about 960-ish region. I don't feel comfortable calling downside on this thing when I think Bitcoin, you know, is more or less showing a little bit of short-term strength here. But if Bitcoin even drops out of the $40,000 territory, I'd probably be looking for this one to come back down to about, yeah, 8.25 or so, and probably try for another bounce there. But I don't like the daily. I don't like the weekly. I certainly don't like the monthly. Wow. This is very stumpy here. Look, I have to go with what I say on most of these. I probably would have no call here just because this one looks like obviously weak while everything else is looking relatively different. Above about 960, I would start to look for this one to show a little bit of strength alongside the rest of the market. Somewhere back up just north of about 10.5 would be the next level that I'm looking at. But what time frames did you ask about? You asked about daily, weekly. Okay, yeah, daily. Look, man, I really don't like the daily. The thing is, though, is that if Bitcoin pulls up to, let's say, 43, I'd be looking for this one to tag up towards like 10.5. Weekly, a lot more sloppy, and I have less of an opinion on this one. I have to say a healthy amount of I don't know. I don't really have much to go off of right here. So unfortunately, that's probably not helpful at all. But yeah, I don't really have much to say, unfortunately. Kyra, man, what's up, man? My fucking man. Hey, man, appreciate that. The Michael Jackson of crypto. That's right, man. I'm buying a house just to build a little child fucking party in my backyard. Elsa's gonna love it, man. She loves kids. Made her.
Oh my God.
This is just a bad joke made on the internet, okay? I can never get over that though. Like Michael Jackson loved kids so much that he had to become the most famous person in the world, maybe never to be outdone ever in the history of the world. And he used his fame to build a amusement park to attract children and their unsuspecting parents into sleeping over at his child ranch. Like no one was like thinking about that. Like, that's weird. Like I even watched the Leaving Neverland, and one of the moms of the child who is like, you know, suspect, or I guess they were eventually like declared not raped, I guess. That makes sense. She said, well, it all started when we went on to this trip to Hawaii, and Michael suggested that little Billy sleeps in my bed and that I sleep in a different portion of the hotel. And at first I thought it was weird, but then I said, okay. She said that with a straight fucking face, man. She said that with a straight fucking face. Like, look, man, you might have had bad parents, but at least it didn't take you to get fucked by Michael Jackson or any other very famous, you know, musicians, or Harvey Weinstein too. So thank your parents today. Tell your parents you love them. Thank you for not letting me get touched. Rami says, can we look at Aave USD 4-hour daily? Sure. This one's got Aave. This one's quite popular too, I believe. Let's see. Not relatively weak, not relatively strong, kind of par for the course in this case. Look, I do think it's probably going to trade with most other things. We got a little bit of bullish evidence off that last low, but your move to the 21 kind of already played out, and that's usually the very easy move on those calls. 4-hour, sloppy again, kind of like that last one, but you are very likely looking at a move today, and momentum oscillators are a little bit slightly on the bullish side here. Look, you do have an easy sort of short-term range to be looking at here. You can basically use the last 4-hour low probably as a basing point in this case, meaning that as long as you're above there, you know, direction probably is up. Volatility is completely contracted right here all the way down to, you know, basically 1 percentile. I imagine, you know, again, this mostly is poised off of Bitcoin's analysis. If Bitcoin moves the upside, you're going to see this move. You're going to see this thing move back to like 340 or so. Above there, you can start to extend targets significantly towards 370, but I'll take it one step at a time. Yesterday's highs is like an obvious continuation point. So anywhere above 340, I would actually significantly extend these targets for a short-term move up to about 370. Any sort of a daily closure above 370, or especially 375, and I'd start to look for this thing to go back up to former glories, just under $500. But difficult chart here on its own, because it's not very strong on its own, and I mean it's hard to ignore just the slew of lower highs here. So if you do take out the last 4-hour low, probably a good warning signal that it will come back down below $300. But I think that's less likely with what Bitcoin's doing right now. So it's mostly an analysis on Bitcoin rather than this thing. You know, daily momentum oscillators are a little like, it's just a fucking ball sack hair more on the bullish side. But as long as the daily RSI does hold the exponential, I would read this as bullish divergence, rejection of the bearish control zone, and, you know, likely next test up. But that is, you know, that is going off of straws right there. Weekly looks weak. I don't like the weekly, man. It's really up to Bitcoin in this case to kind of pick everything up and lift it off its backpack. Nate says, thanks, Krown. Yes, Solving and I have been exchanging trade ideas and stock charts. That's good, man. That's really, really awesome. Love this community. Fuck yeah, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. Like, find someone who's kind of the same opinion as you, and work, and, you know, work with them if you see fit, man. That's fucking awesome, man. And both you guys have known for a long time now, and it's actually really, really cool to see like people are, you know, going off and doing their own thing. Like the same thing with Liquidity Zone, for example. Those two guys met through this community. Mr. Eric and Mr. Ken, both meeting together, and now they have like their own newsletter and everything in their own channel, which you can check out. God damn, fucking stop, Jesus Christ! Elsa bites her utensils. It's disgusting. Yeah. Okay, can you not? Can you fucking not, please? Anyways, can you look at AMS on BME daily and weekly? AMS. American shared this thing. Wait, hold on BME. Okay, so Amadeus Group. All right, man, you guys are like, how the fuck did you guys even find this shit? That's a real question. 4 hours looking okay. Weekly's look, yeah, weekly. Oh, yes, very, very good. Very good. Reversal is real. Golden cross, nice reaccumulation. Higher lows. Sending Tronga right here. This one very likely trades back up to $72. I really, really like this chart. And god damn it, man, this is way better than all the other shit charts you guys send me. Between you two, this one's been going up for a long period of time. This is very good right here. Yes, there's not going to be as much opportunity in something like this than some of the more dastardly charts that you guys find, but credit to you. You guys actually do have a pretty damn good game, and it seems like you guys are aware of the risk anyway, so I probably should shut the fuck up about my own stupid opinions on these. But this one looks obviously a lot better now. Short term, or let's see, what time frame? Yeah, you said daily, weekly. Short-term daily probably does trade back down a little bit lower. Maybe tries for another higher low somewhere around 63.5. Long-term though, weekly, there's nothing bearish about this. Monthly, same thing. Very much like the monthly. I see that same sort of fake out move right here. I really, really like those. Really like those trades. But those are very high-term timeframes, to be fair. Okay, cool. Henry Roberts, hey Eric, big fan here. Cool, man. We can just be friends instead of fans. Been watching your video since 2018. Holy shit, man. This is your first time saying something? Well, good to meet you, sir. I remember your video with Richard Hart. I know you're not convinced. Look, the video with Richard Hart was actually very interesting. It was actually very interesting for me. Because I just wanted people to I just wanted him to tell a story, and then people can make their own decision for themselves, right? I mean, that's what it's all about anyways. Would we get get your view on the hex chart now? Look, man, the hex chart is very good. I mean, we've spoken about it many times. Regardless of your thoughts of the underlying technology, this thing is again among the best charts in cryptocurrency land. I think there's one other chart that we saw that was a little better long term than it earlier today, but it's still very much among the best. I mean, it deserves a lot of respect for, of course, what's it called? Going up, especially in the last month or so when most things were sideways and down. So I think that deserves a lot of respect. And I do think that it probably even has another stab up here, almost to our 10-cent target. It pretty much got there a couple days ago. I think it probably gives one more try up there and then goes for a bit of a toppy behavior. And then you see a bit of sideways and downside and maybe another, reaccumulation at a high level if this one wants to remain long-term bullish. But I think you're pretty damn close there, but probably one more try and then consolidate. And we'll see after that if this thing still wants, if this thing still wants to have like some long-term up, but yeah, still one of the better charts in cryptocurrency land. I just don't like being ganged up upon by the fucking Hex gang, who for whatever reason does not like it if I say anything that is not just like gloriously enlightening about Hex, which at some point, man, I will turn to downside on that one, but for right now, it's getting close there, but not quite. All right, cool. Travis Miller says, please take a look at STLD. Okay, STLD, daily, weekly. All right. Okay, Steel Dynamics. So this is a stock. This is not a cryptocurrency, because if it's a real stock, you don't have to like put USD at the end. Just a heads up. But maybe you're not talking about this. If you're not talking about this, let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, this is the only chart that I can pull up with this ticker, anyways. But looks like it's trying for a higher low right here on the 4 hour. Now, what time frames do you ask about? Daily week. Okay, that is not relevant to you. Let's go to a daily. Daily's looking like it wants to have a higher low here too. I do see a daily jewel sell signal, which is a little bit concerning for the long term on this rally. Let's see, what does the weekly look like? Yeah, I'm not really bearish on this. I think this one's just going sideways and probably tries for some upside, maybe in the next month or two. But I do think that you're in for a bit more of a sideways range. Short term, I'd be looking for a pop back up to like $65 or so. You do kind of have to play this one a little bit conservatively, mostly because you do have like a very obvious continuation point right around 66, spot 66. Actually, the devil's number right there. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing trade sideways within this range for like, maybe a month or so. But long term, I do like it. This is a very good chart. Long term deserves a lot of respect. I mean, here's the monthly, man. The monthly is just one massive long term upside move. In fact, even I might even go as far as saying that long term, this one is even kind of freshly breaking out once again. You can see that this area right here was your prior like long term accumulation over the last about 10 years long, in fact, being resolved as of the last few months. So generally speaking, I'd be long-term bullish on it. Short-term, sideways, very short-term, very likely pops back up here too. So I'm kind of bullish on all time frames, like all things considered, but generally speaking, I do think it will spend some more time within this range. So while short-term is up, I don't know if it's ready to like continue trend to the upside like this month, for example. I do think it's going to take some time, but it is a very good chart and very likely does continue on. Okay, let's see. Johnny Boy 950 says, can you look at Gitcoin, please? Sure. I don't know if this is a real thing. Oh, it is a real thing. Okay. Okay. It's on Poloniex. Oh my God, what the fuck is it? I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion on this thing, man. I don't have a good I don't have any relevant opinion to give you on this. I don't know. The right answer on something like this is I don't know. There's not enough history. For the history that we do have, it's sloppy as all hell. It looks like it trades literally in the single digits on a 4 hour basis here, probably even on a daily basis as well. I can't in good faith say anything about this with like a modicum of responsibility. I don't know on this thing, man. I just don't know. Not enough history, man. And look at this. Whenever I see something like this, man, I avoid shit like this. This is a signal that this thing is completely illiquid and you should probably stay away from it. Unless you have like some sort of insider information or you just believe in the project a lot. Other than that, that's just a terrible sign to me, generally speaking. Sam says, thoughts on Tether FUD resurface for those trading XUSDT perps? Look, man, Tether FUD. Look, there are legitimate criticisms and concerns with Tether, which I don't like to put under the umbrella of FUD, because FUD makes it sound like it's fake. It's not fucking fake, man. I mean, there's legitimate concerns with Tether. Obviously, they basically operate like a fractional reserve. Here's the thing though, I've been hearing Tether concerns ever since I started looking at the space in like 2016, 2017. Have they come to fruition? No, not once. Now the wheels of justice do turn slowly, as the saying goes, but how long can that go on for? Who the hell knows, man? Who the hell knows? So, and also maybe they are legitimate. Maybe they kind of figure their shit out before the justice system catches up to them. I don't know. But what are my thoughts on it? My thoughts are, look, I can say all of that and say that it's probably not like a short-term concern. Take that as you will. Now, with that said, what are my actual actions? Because, obviously you can say something, but your actions are what matter. I don't fucking do anything with Tether. I don't want anything to do with Tether. I never, ever, 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 ever trade into Tether. I don't want that extra risk. It just seems like another fucking, variable to potentially get fucked by. So for me, I want nothing to do with it. Doesn't mean that it's destined for, you know, destruction, but I would rather not deal with that as a trader who is mostly risk averse. Lance Spencer says, can you take a look at CRSR? Okay, CRSR. This Corsair is public. Oh, nice, man. I like their products. I have a lot of their products, and I really like them. Anyways, you're saying it just broke the range on the consolidation. Short term, yes. Long term, no. But it is okay right there. Anyways, on many weeks, but then ugly drop same day. Would that be a failure? I mean, it's just a long-term range right here. Short term, it broke the consolidation, yes. And we have something new going on short term, but as far as the weekly goes, I think it's a lot more obvious right here. No, you have not broken any consolidation. But it is good. It is generally good, I would say. Look, as long as it's above here, you know, this is your reaccumulation. Yes, it's red as fuck right there. It's not a big deal. You usually do get a sell-off on your first sort of try to the upside after an initial accumulation, but looking at the daily right here, here's what I'd say, man. I'd be actually looking for yesterday's low to be a bit of a basing point, meaning that as long as you behave above there, I'd be looking for another range to kind of transpire between where we're at right now and the top side of this. Here's your real breakout above this region right here. I know that you are looking for a breakout above here, and yes, you are right. But now I'd be looking for this to kind of be a bit of a basing point. In fact, look at that. You perfectly retested yesterday. You know, on low volume, I imagine this probably does give another try to the upside. Let's see what the very low term. Yeah, a lot more obvious on the hourly. Look, this very likely is your next sort of higher low, and I'd operate off of that assumption at least for the short term here. I do like this one long term, but I think it's going to take a lot more time within this range. But the range is no longer like $30 to 34. It's more like 35 to like 42, yeah, about 41.5 to $42, and then above there, I'd be looking for new all-time highs. But I do kind of like this chart. Not enough history on the weekly, but it looks more or less fine. Daily momentum oscillators are all on bullish posturings here, so I do favor the upside generally speaking. Chris Salem says, can you discuss AMP? I'm hyper bullish. The coin just got listed on Coinbase Pro, and it keeps mooning. AMP staking, Flexa, and Speedin apps are fire. Cool, man. Okay, well, let's see the chart. Right here. If all of that is well and good, then we would expect to see a very impressive chart. Let's see what the magical charts say. Pretty good right there. Let's see what the long term. I suspect that's not the full picture. Let's go to Poloniex. If you get more history, oh yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Whoa. Oh, come on, man. It actually is having a macro breakout right here. That's a funny thing. All jokes aside, yeah, this is having a macro breakout. Probably short-term pullback, maybe back down to like 8.5 cents or so, but long-term, this is very good. The reversal is real. Long-term is up. This one's breaking back above the range. We have a reversal on the weekly, not necessarily on the monthly, but there's really not even enough history on the monthly yet. Look, man, direction is it's bullish on most timeframes I'm looking at right here. I would be looking for a bit of a short-term range, maybe plays back down to, 8.5 or about 8.5 cents or so, whatever it ends up being. Long-term though, I'd be looking for this one to make its way towards like 17, and it's going to be a big one. And then you got about 32 cents right there. Let's see what it is. Okay, right there I'd be looking at, and right there I'd be looking at, yeah, about actually 33.5 cents. I'd generally be bullish on this one, but short-term, we see a bit of a pullback. Yeah, we might have already got the pullback actually. Yeah, this one's kind of melting right here. It's pretty good. It's actually pretty good. I take back what I said earlier. It's a very good chart. I spoke a bit too soon, so apologies on that. Karim says, Krown, bringer of Bull Jesus and loather of kitchen time. Oh man, you know me too well. Could you please look at BAT USD on Coinbase? We can look at it on Coinbase, but I think it would be better to look at it on a more long-term exchange like Bittrex if we have. Yeah. Let's see what this one has. And you're looking at what? You're looking at daily time frame. Okay, so we're on the daily already. It looks very similar to most other charts in this land. This one's par for the course, neither weak nor strong. Short term, I'd be looking for this one to probably pop up in line with Bitcoin, assuming Bitcoin does pop up to about 43, somewhere around about 76. What is this, like? Yeah, 75 to 76 cent region. I wouldn't get too excited about this one as long as it's below this sort of high on this range thus far, which is 88 cents. Above there, you can start to look back up towards maybe like, yeah, $1 plus actually. But one thing at a time in this one, just being par for the course. I wouldn't expect like anything too major from this one, but short term, probably like 73.5 cents. And then I'd probably be looking for a continuation of 76 if Bitcoin just Makes its way up to 43. Daily RSI's more or less slightly bullish, I guess. Daily TSI turning back up. Daily BBWP is actually still contracting, which is rather bizarre given the current structure, but I guess it is still consolidating, so that does make sense. I think it's just generally going to follow the market here. What does the low term time frame say? Trying for a higher low right here after a little bit of a short term reversal. Yeah, I probably would be looking for some upside here. Low term time frame continuation is above 71.3. Okay, cool. Oh my god, we're 2 hours and almost 20 minutes into this. What the fuck? This is pretty crazy, man. Let's go back onto Bitcoin. Let's wrap this bitch up and send you off on your merry way. You've listened to my raspy lesbian voice for way too long, fellas. You need to go wash out your ears for a bit. Anyways, Bitcoin right here. Again, I just look at this as consolidation right above a bit of a range break on the daily. I do like the daily reversal. Again, higher low right here and higher high above the range highs as well. So I would be looking at this as very likely to make another leg up. Probably for the, maybe within this next 24-hour session to about 42.5 to 43,000 bucks, and that is essentially my disposition as long as Bitcoin holds 39. Let's see, what was it right on over here? 39.3 to the downside. So as long as Bitcoin's trading above 39.3, I do essentially favor the short-term, medium-term upside continuation drive here. And I would be looking for a short-term pullback off at 43, probably set up maybe a little bit later this month or early next month to deeper $40,000 territories. But for right here, right now, as long as Bitcoin's maintained above 39.3, I generally look at this as a nice healthy consolidation. Below 39.3, I would let go of that idea. It is no longer short-term bullish, and I'd be looking for a move back down to about 37.5 region or so. So with that said, I want to wish you the best and the happiest once again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really fun times here, and hopefully I can wish you a not just successful trading day, but a safe trading day. Yeah. Anyways, all right, we'll do one more for Ripple PT. Hey, Krown, listening since 20. Holy shit, man. Well, good to meet you too, man. I'm not a trader, but can you check out CEL on the weekly? Sure, man. You have a nice day as well. All right, last one of the last ones. And you're looking at on the weekly. 4 hour looks like it wants a little bit of short-term upside, but you're asking specifically about a weekly. Not as an impressive chart on a weekly, but to be fair, I mean, it was going up essentially when Bitcoin was going down, which is rather interesting. Hey, we need to be able to pull up a more long-term chart than this, certainly, right? Yeah, here we go. Okay, very, very good chart. Very, very good chart long-term. Look, it might base off at like $6.50 again, but anything basically above the 21 is a higher low to me here. Long-term, I do like it for continuation, if that's what you're interested in. Monthly's a little bit short-term toppy, but that's... I'd probably want to come back to this one into July. This is, but look, man, I'm never going to hate an upturn right here. And generally speaking, I probably favor the long-term upside continuation. Sideways and up is what I'd be looking for right here. All right. Anyways, fellas, it's been an absolute pleasure. Take care, and hopefully see you soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate, pause it, list it, send